Hi. All right, we're live. Welcome. It's Runchuks. We're going to watch some WSOP final table action. This is event number 66. It's a PLO pot limit Omaha event with $800 buy-in. And this is going to be a cards up stream, so we're going to see cards of every player at the table. It's going to be awesome, and Henry Kilbane is joining me today. Henry, good to see you, mate.
How you doing, my man?
All good. All good. Anyway, so of course we're watching the recording. There's no delay on the stream, so we're going to be able to interact with you guys in real time and going to have some fun. And what do you say? I think let's go with the footage. Let's get into it. First, people need to choose their seat. That's a really cool feature on GG Poker. On the final table, you have to make a decision whether you want to switch your seat or not. Unfortunately, some people probably don't know about this feature and they keep timing out and not use the opportunity. Henry, you did a commentary already on a few of these events. Do you have any inside tips on what's the best strategy here? What should people look out for?
Yeah, I mean, I think best strategy, chip leader, always to have position on like second and third in chips, which is usually the case. First couple of seat selections with the short stacks, they kind of just tend to not bother because they know it doesn't make a difference. Because like say Wilder Brito had moved to, I don't know, where the button is, it doesn't matter because people are just going to change their seats to either have him covered or they're going to move him around. So normally what we see is, you know, the first couple of selections not bother, which is what Wilder Brito decided to do. But Runchuks, man, 140K for first in an $800 PLO event. It feels like we're in Vegas.
Absolutely,
it feels
man.
like we're in Vegas.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Like the total price pool was so huge, and imagine you buy in for 800, and you're basically fighting for. Well, for some of these guys, it might be a life-changing amount.
100%. I mean, even if you're a millionaire, right, 140K is still a lot of money. There's obviously the satellites into these events as well. So there's people satelliting in. You've got the staking feature on GG as well. So a lot of people that can't normally, you know, don't have the bankroll to justify playing an $800 tournament, they'll sell 70%. And yeah, that way, you know, you have more people able to play these events than on other sites, which is what I really like. The $1,500 event, I don't know if you managed to play it, was so soft. And that's just because you have people that don't normally play, you know, $1,500 PLO events able to play by selling action and satelliting through. So it's going to be a fun one.
Oh, it is going to be a fun one, yeah. And by the way, guys in the chat, Robbie Expert, Arzillo, thank you for being here. Early Birds, good to see you. Henry, do you actually recognize any of the names at the table? Have you seen, do you know these guys? All right.
I do. I've got a good friend of mine, Jonas Kronwitter, sat with 5.5 million.
Ooh.
And Toby Joyce as well, another PLO beast on the UK and Irish scene.
Okay.
Sat with around 2 mil. I don't recognize anyone else. Just having a look around now. Mark Herm, never heard of him, but he's got a huge chip lead.
Okay. Well, if we just take a look at the numbers, the VPIP numbers, looks like, well, Wilder is obviously tight, but he has to be. He is the shortest stack at the table.
Yeah.
The other guys are playing pretty loose. Obviously, we're going to see this was the first hand at the final table. So we're going to see how they're actually playing the final table, because the stats, of course, are from whatever they did before.
Yeah, so obviously on the bubble, we had 2 tables of 5, which is why the VPIP stats are going to be somewhat, you know, higher compared to in an hour's time. I don't think these stats will be as high. And as you mentioned already, Wilder Brito, Ruhal, Ruslan, shorter stacks, all with a lower VPIP, just because, yeah, as you mentioned, they they didn't have much room to maneuver when we were on the FT bubble.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm just checking. So we're level 34 right now. Levels move up, of course, by the number of hands, not by the time, which is awesome.
I love that. I absolutely love that. It's just, it feels like GG are doing all the right things at the moment in terms of just making the game available for all different types of players, and making it hand by hand, a certain amount of hands each level, rather than people just like abusing the time bank available.
Yeah, and it absolutely makes it more enjoyable to watch as well, because from every event that I watched so far, we don't see a lot of tanking. We don't see a lot of, abusing the time, as you said. So basically, the game flows and things happen, a lot of action. And of course, we see each player has their own, let's call it private timer. So a clock, which is also a super nice feature. And by the way, Hit the Reel just subscribed to the channel for 3 months. Thank you, man. Really appreciate it. He watches the stream on a regular basis. Obviously, mostly he watches me play, because that's what I mostly do on the channel. But today we're doing the commentary for the WSOP Cards Up. I am really excited to do these, actually, because it's so much fun to watch the hands, or basically the whole game play out when you see all of the cards.
Yeah, for sure. And I think you kind of hit the nail on the head on just like how much fun it is having the whole cards. And the main thing for me, I obviously haven't explored ICM as much as, MTT regs have. And I do try and play all of the PLO bracelet events, and I will be next year as well at the World Series. So just by watching some of these wizards and how they approach it, Georgi's going to have to stack off, and it's in a bit of an ICM cage himself with 2 shorter stacks. Top pair nut flush draw. It's going to need some help from the deck, Runchuks.
All right, we have the peeling card. I like this feature as well. That's so cool. All right, so he got the luck. That's good, because like you said, obviously the ICM pressure is there.
Yeah.
The pay jump. What is the pay jump, actually?
Oh,
put my glasses on for that one, because we have the payouts on the stream. Obviously, you guys can see it.
Yeah, $4,400 pay jump between 9th and 8th. And also, I'm curious to see how Georgi continues to play, because we saw him with a relatively loose open from under the gun as one of the shortest stacks just before he doubled, with the ace king jack deuce suited to the ace with the king of hearts blocker as well. When he has Wilder on 6.5 bigs, Ruhal on 12 bigs, and Ruslan on 17 bigs. So maybe not as aware as some of the other players at this table will be about ICM. Or maybe he's just going for the win. Who knows?
Yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, we're going to see who's who pretty soon, I guess. And by the way, the 2 guys that you mentioned, Toby and Jonas, are battling right now. But yeah, we're going to see who's who pretty quickly, I guess, because like you said, there are qualifiers, there are people who normally don't play these events, so there's different levels of skill among the opponents, and, it's going to be fun. I'm sure we're going to see some dubious plays, but then again, I mean, these guys are playing for big pay jumps, big money, and after all, the bracelet, which I would love to win the bracelet.
Oh man, don't tease me. I unfortunately couldn't play this event due to commentary commitments, but I was streaming in the 1500, man. We made the money, but we couldn't spin up our short stack, and just have to do with the WSOP cash. I'm surprised to see Toby not lead this turn. So maybe even you could lead flop at a decent frequency on the 8-6 deuce, but
I guess he knows that there are 2 shorter stacks at the table, and it's the small blind for him, so maybe taking it slow, playing that orbit out, maybe that went through his mind. He didn't want to bump up the variance and be the first one out.
Yeah, that makes sense. That does make a ton of sense, and playing his small blind aggressively as well. hit the reel saying, "Hi, Runchuks and Henry. Nice to see you both at the same time on commentary." Hey, we've shared a booth a few times, Runchuks, haven't we?
Oh yeah, we have. We have. It's been a lot of fun during the Galfond challenge commentary. That was cool. And we're gonna do one more, right? We're doing WSOP commentary next week.
We
Together
are
with Jane Anders. It's gonna be a 3-way commentary. That's gonna be a first for me, at least, but it's gonna be fun.
I know exactly how that's going to go down. I'm just going to get needled the entire stream. You two wizards are going to be doing all the analysis.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. Sometimes at these events, they don't require analysis. They require a bit of a laugh and a bit of condolences. Okay, 2.5%. We might see the first one out. He has one out, the King of Spades, and 3 of Diamonds. Oh, well.
Jeez.
The first elimination.
Jeez. I was going to say, does anyone know how much the WSOP Europe packages are worth? I believe $15,000, so around about 12.5k euros. So you have your 10,350 euro main event buy-in, as well as travel expenses and hotel expenses covered. So it works out around about $15,000.
Yeah, it's a nice bonus on top of the top prize. Yeah. And let's not forget that bracelet. And speaking of bracelet, I see Robbie Expert was saying in the chat, and exactly the same thing that I thought about when I said I would love to win a bracelet. Then I thought, well, I don't usually play tournaments, so it's kind of hard to win a bracelet if you don't play those.
This is true. But these PLO comps, man, they're something else. I mean, I ran really well with RNG. Like my first 4 tables are just insanely soft. Like I think I got 3-bet like once in the first 3 hours of play.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a ton of value. You have to cancel commentary and play for the bracelets.
Yeah, we've been talking about it previously on my other streams. People suggesting that I should play, and they want me to sell action for funsies. But yeah, I probably won't play any event. Just don't want to switch to the night owl rhythm.
Yeah, I know you're pretty disciplined when it comes to that balance. In bed early, up in the morning early. So
pretty
it's
much,
impressive.
Yeah.
So Gregor's in a bit of a weird spot. Got Mark and Jonas in the big blind that have him covered, but I think a mandatory open, or at least a limp, if he doesn't want to stack off against Rahul, sorry. That's a great idea, by the way. So you got the 1500 PLO. When is that? Is next Thursday, I believe. Could sell a bit of action on stream. A little 20% ball. You know I'll take 10%.
Okay.
Even though you probably wouldn't let me. But yeah, if it's for the stream.
Yeah. Well, I think about it. I mean, I'm not really keen to. Not so keen. Let's put it this way. Because even in the WSOP in Vegas, whenever I went, and I was there pretty much every year, I never once got tempted to actually jump in and play the tournament. I went as far as played one of those one-day high roller events, and that was it. I was out like in the first 25 minutes, and I was like, okay, that's it. It's my tournament for the series.
Interesting hand developing, by the way. Mark Herm maybe just showing a little bit of inexperience. Toby opening from UTG, a min open, and Mark Herm min raising to 300k. SPR 3 or less than 3. I feel like this is a great candidate to have in our check back ranges to protect our check back range in general, although we are blocking some of the wraps with our queen and 7 blocker.
But we do have the 2 backdoor flush draws, so check back works out beautifully. And I like to see that Mark did check back. He does need to protect on this board in general, because it's not supposed to be very, very good for him. Although it's not super good for the under-the-gun player either. Especially Toby is on not one of the deep stacks at the table, so his specific hand is basically as good as it gets on a board like this.
Now the question is, what sizing do we want to bet? Turn, he goes for 2/3. I like it. I wouldn't mind going slightly bigger, but that's me being a bit nitpicky. And Toby folding the top pair and open ender.
And Toby had he had an overcard as well. Well, overpair. He had queens.
Yeah, interesting to see Toby just give that one up. Certainly getting the right price, around about 3-1 on a call, meaning you'd need about 25% equity, I guess. Diamonds rolling off on the turn and not having a diamond blocker in his hand helped him get to that decision of just folding. Yeah, this is a bit of a loose open from Mark, but also an understandable one with the chip lead. Can put a ton of pressure on people. So you go to Vegas during the World Series just to grind cash, I assume, because the games are so soft.
That's right. Well, usually not this year, of course.
That makes sense. What we got going on here? King high diamonds and 4 overcards for Toby. Top pair and some connectivity around that 10 with the with Gorgi. Turn some wraps.
He does call. Toby has an interesting decision to make now. He doesn't have a nut flush draw. Plays really awkward on the turns. Well, obviously now he has to love the situation. If he would lead at the moment, I guess everybody has to fold. There's nobody... Yeah, nobody can continue if Toby decides to lead here.
Yeah, agreed. I would love to see a lead here from Toby. Although it does look like we've got the board on absolute lock, we do want to protect against, some of the will draws. Gorgi can have some, 7, 6, 5, 4 rundowns on the button. Although shouldn't have too many of them. Yeah, takes it down up to 3 mil, moves to 5th in chips, middle of the pack. Everyone guaranteed $16,053. Black Nala in the chat saying, "Good evening, chaps." Black Nala, how are you doing? She's saying, "Hit the Reel" has been subscribed for 3 months, as you mentioned, and just tuning in and learning how to play the great game of Pot Limit Omaha whenever you're streaming.
Yeah. And I just fixed that problem with me being only... Well, basically on a stereo with the mono mic, so you guys could only hear me from one side, from one headphone. So that should be fixed right now. Sorry about that.
Chat, we were saying before we went live that it's dumber and dumber, or dumb and dumber.
Yeah, well, you sort of showed who's the dumbest one out of the two. Can't even put your finger on the dumb and dumber.
Dumb and dumber.
From dumber and dumber to dumber and dumber. Yeah, when it comes to technology and Twitch and all these things, it does seem like we're not the sharpest tools in the box, but I guess when it comes to 4 cards, when it comes to commentary, we're all right.
We're not bad, man. We're not bad. Interesting ball texture, Runchuks.
Yeah.
For Jonas, obviously, with a significant polarity advantage on the
Okay,
ace
look at
king
this.
trade.
So Jonas obviously goes for a c-bet, and absolutely makes sense. You know, this is the type of board where he's going to have a huge advantage, like you said. Unfortunately for him, obviously, Mark has the bottom set. He's not going anywhere, and he is the deep stack. And then Jonas...
Mark snap called. Just like had his finger on the call button. On the flop. Check, check, turn.
Original Muffin is saying that Henry's voice sounds much bigger than Henry looks like. It's only because you see the top half.
Original Muffin, if I showed my 12-pack and biceps on stream, I would I'd be too intimidating. Wow, that's a spicy board texture. Blind versus blind. Good luck, Rahul. Gonna need some help.
50-50.
So that's a bad turn card.
That is a really bad turn. And that's a pretty good river, though.
It is. Gets there on the river, and Mark Combs came in with about 9.5. Gifted some back to the rest of the table.
Can't blame him too much, though, for applying so much pressure as he did. It definitely makes sense as a strategy.
I like this from Rahul, and I'm not a huge fan of this from Maxime. But can't say I blame him. So tempting with these rundowns, man. Oh man, have you been timing out on stream?
Not lately, but yeah, it's been a running gag because people started betting, basically, almost started betting on how many timeouts I'm gonna have in a session. Lately, I've been doing all right because I think the last couple of weeks I streamed a lot of two-tabling of Zoom. Obviously, a lot of hands per hour and not so many timeouts, actually. So I'm definitely improving when it comes to playing on stream.
See if Jonas blocks here with the nut low flush draw. Flush, sorry, not flush draw. Wouldn't mind seeing him bet like 150. Goes half pot, mergy sizing. So how have you been running on stream though? This is what I'm curious to know. Like, have you found that it distracts you from your A game? Would you say that you're leaning more towards like your B minus or C game when you're grinding because of the chat and the interaction?
Oh, absolutely, yeah, absolutely. I don't even attempt to play very good. I just approach streaming as fun, and I play for fun. That being said, I've been running pretty good on streams, so I can't really complain. I think the last session I was... Yeah, I lost a bunch, so last session it was, sort of got my ass kicked. But other than that, it's been it's smooth sailing for the most part.
Says he better open table taber, stars helper, opens it, and then proceeds to steal timeout. Oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah, that happened. That actually did happen, yeah.
Runchuks, man, it sounds like maybe you've got a couple more years in you before you have to retire. If you're having issues with timing out all the time.
Yeah. Well, there's always live poker.
This is true. I was speaking to you earlier on today. I'm definitely thinking next year of getting a place in Vegas and just grinding out in America for the year. Love live poker.
Yeah, I miss live poker as well. It is a different animal. It's always nice to have, a couple months, live poker only, and then getting back to online. I usually can't wait to get back to online action. But that period of 2 months, 3 months, only live poker, it definitely serves like a little vacation.
Yeah. And there's nothing more satisfying than stacking someone and watching them head to the cashier to reload. This is an awfully wide pill from Mark Herm from UTG. Queen, Jack 9. Rainbow. I understand that we're chip leader, but maybe early signs of frustration being shown by Mark as he now finds himself pretty much tied with Maxime. Well, I guess 1.15 big blinds in, it's still a significant lead, but to go from 9.5 mil to 6.6 mil in the first 20 hands, probably not loving life right now. Well, what a flop for the German. Although Gregor's not the most German name. Maybe just has a grindhouse there.
Yeah, possible. Well, Mark gets creative.
That's the exact word I was going to use. So creative plays.
Absolutely, creative plays. And to be honest, like even pre-flop, I'm not a big fan of his play. Sure, it's a double-suited hand, but I mean, let's face it, we're not playing who has a more beautiful suited hand. It's about the hand value, and I mean, quite a disconnected, quite a crappy hand.
Yeah, suit's going to be dominated most of the time, and I think this is like a pretty obvious beginner's mistake, and we see this a lot in PLO where people overvalue pot odds rather than the actual overall like hand value and the fact that our hand is just more often than not going to be crushed pre-flop, and yeah, that mistake being shown. Hey, they're all saying, Henry, London casinos are open. Do you plan to play there? Don't know if you're still in London. I haven't been in London for about 3 years, my man. I currently live in Malta, but I'm heading to Bulgaria tomorrow. So Actor knows exactly what we mean, Runchuks. Creative, aka horrible play.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've always tried to not be too cynical whilst being in the commentary booth, because at the end of the day, the way that us professionals make money, and I would like to believe that I'm a professional poker player, is through the mistakes of others. And I would hate to have someone watch a stream and hear me bash their plays, but yeah, Mark needs to tighten up a little bit. Does need to tighten up a little bit.
Apparently, Gregor's said my last hand. I don't know if that's the best emoji for that situation, because you, mate, are in a tournament. 8 people still at the table, final table, 140,000 for the win. So it's definitely not his last hand. Oh, look at Mark. Mark's been active, very active, and now he has aces.
Indeed.
Not a kind of board where Georgi is going to go broke with the top pair.
Yeah, especially against the
unlikely.
largest.
Yeah, okay. Folding is, it might seem tight, but I actually think it's all right in this current situation, especially if we check the other stack sizes.
Yeah. Yeah, I couldn't agree more, especially versus the larger sizing as well. Going to have an awkward SPR on turn and river.
Absolutely.
Interesting c-bet sizing choice from Mark as well. I mean, this is outrageous. Like, this guy is trying to run over the table. He's trying to win the tournament in the first level of the FT. And it honestly wouldn't surprise me if he ends up going out in fifth or sixth if he continues to play this loose and this aggressive, because he's just going to get picked off.
Absolutely, I agree with you. A lot of the plays are unnecessary. He's forcing the action. He's no longer a dominant chip leader, so there's no need to go for this. But, well, it works out this time. Papi, good to see you in the chat. Welcome, welcome.
That man spends his life on Twitch. It's just like me, Pappy Van Winkle. That's all I do. Should probably make my own Twitch channel. Would make sense.
It would make sense considering that you, like you said, you spend so much time there. All right, we got the blinds up. Next level, another 30 hands until the next one. Nobody's awfully short just yet. The shortest stack is just above 20 big blinds. Still playable.
Yeah, Ruslan, anti-less PLO as well. I was ITM of the 1500 PLO event and had 7 bigs, and my flatmates were like, "Oh, panic time." I'm like, "Nah, I'm not panicking. I'm not panicking. We got 7 bigs, anti-less PLO. We still got time. Although haven't got, we're normally 250 big blinds deep Runchuks, especially in live PLO. So I haven't got the best short stack game, but."
Oh, well, my short stacks game, all right, because obviously online at the highest stakes tables, there's a lot of buying in short, playing 40 big blind poker, 20 big blind poker. Happens a lot.
Mark could get himself in trouble here. Okay, he does just decide to call.
Well, this board is beautiful for him. I wouldn't be surprised if he leads as he does. Rahul, I mean, man, he's gonna go. He's gonna go all in. Yep.
Yeah, tough spot for Rahul, but I think having the top pair.
Oh.
Wow.
That's it on the turn, and yep, 10 of hearts. Well, Mark can now continue with his aggression. Probably feels that things were working out for him, even though looking from the side, it did seem like he was a bit too optimistic in many situations and should, in fact, slow down. But this is only throwing fuel into the fire, so I reckon Mark is going to continue playing a lot of hands.
I agree. And I mean, we've lost 2 players very quickly, Runchuks. Everyone now guaranteed $22,121 for their efforts. But as Runchuks mentioned earlier on, there's a bracelet and $140,000 up top. And I'm sure every single player at this table has thought about getting that knock on the door from the delivery man with the bracelet package and having that 140K hit their bank account. Original Muffin said he's here to play, not to knit it up. Who cares about money? Oh, man. Interesting spot for Gregors. I think we just play as call. SPL's this high. Be a bit of an ICM disaster to stack off.
Well, now it gets easy.
It does.
And luckily for both of them, basically it's sealed. There's no way it's not a chop. Obviously, Mark being out of position on a scary turn, a scary river, he might still do something stupid, but it's very unlikely. I'm curious, though, about Gregor's decision to limp the button with what is a pretty strong hand. What do you think was going on through his head there?
I agree. It is a very strong hand, but I also think that given the fact that we have 3 significantly shorter stacks than us, and the way that Mark has been playing, it would just be an absolute disaster to open to like 270 and then face a 3-bet from Mark, even though we would be in position. I think playing as limp call seems absolutely fine just to reduce the variance.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, this is a dream spot, right? Both players licking their lips. Gregors is like, oh boy.
I like his call. I like the call. He definitely thinks that Mark might be bluffing, and now I guess Mark is going to go for a check call. I'd be very surprised if Gregors doesn't go for value here.
Yeah.
He doesn't get paid very often with the worse hand, but, you know, it's still possible. There's 5s, there's 8s, ace 5, and obviously a chop, all still on the board. So, you know, getting scared from ace queen wouldn't be very good, I think.
Yeah, the question is sizing. I like this sizing. Although we do obviously want to polarize with our, like I was going to say nut boats, but obviously losing to ace queen. I think go for the smaller sizing when we're just going to fold out 5s if we jam. I think that's well played by Gregors.
Some interesting hands. All of the aces are out. 4 aces are in the hands of the players. Gregors opens. I wouldn't be surprised if Mark... Well, I was about to say if Mark calls, but actually Mark went for a raise. It's not the first time we see him do it. These small isolating type of thing. Wow. This might get ugly.
Yeah, it's been using some very unique sizings pre-flop and post-flop. This is a board texture that we shouldn't do a ton of betting on, but when we do, should be using a smaller sizing at a pretty low frequency, around 1/3. Would be GTO approved, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you. I'm not so sure if I like the fact that he checks. I think he makes more money by betting small, as you were suggesting. It's unlikely that Gregors is gonna catch up to an extent where he's gonna put a lot of money in anyway, so you're better off just charging the draws on the flop and getting the maximum from the draws on the flop, because a lot of those draws which would have been calling against a small size on the flop are actually just folding on the turn.
Yep.
On many of the turns.
That is a great point. And he does go relatively small, 40% on the turn. I would have liked to see like 1/3 and then 70% or 70, like 3/4 on the turn, but Sloop out saying I would bluff this ace 5 7 8. I don't think we get to on the turn once it checks through. Certainly some potential to start setting up bluffs on the flop, but you know, in terms of impeccable timing to not run a bluff with a somewhat decent bluff candidate, but have ran into it.
Yeah, I guess the pay jumps are also something on the mind of the players, because now they're getting a bit more significant. And I think psychologically, a lot of people would hate to get out on an optimistic bluff Nobody minds a good story of, oh, you know what, I got it in aces versus aces and I lost. Oh my God, right? But, the story of I made a stupid bluff and I lost, people usually don't tell that story. So I would assume that, at least some of these players are going to steer away from a strategy like that. By the way, Georgi has been somewhat tight, at least lately, and now he opened quite a weak hand, to be honest. It looks deceptively okay. It was a king queen jack something, like king queen jack 3, single suited, not even suited to the king, and he was on the hijack or in the hijack. I really think it's a bit too optimistic, shall we say again.
Yeah, I think there's always that psychological aspect in poker where I guess I don't have a ton of experience because I don't play tournaments, but I can only assume that when you have someone like Mark, who is the clear table captain, fold, everyone else kind of like jumps the gun to try and be the table captain for that one hand, if that makes sense. So, right, chip lead is folded. Now it's my turn to try and get a sneaky one through, and yeah, obviously getting punished for the loose opens, or the loose open, I should say.
And that's one thing that probably the less experienced players at the table are going to be suffering, because at some point you don't focus only on your decisions. You're not fully rational in the way you play. A lot of things go through your mind, as in, okay, how is it going to look like? What am I going to tell? Like, what's going on here? Thinking about that bracelet, thinking about that, delivery man knocking on your door. Whereas in reality, you're supposed to only focus on each decision. Take it as it is.
Wow. Potential for some action. Middle set, backdoor nut flush draw for Jonas. Hasn't really been too involved so far at this FT. Wouldn't surprise me to see Mark double barreling here after picking up a gut shot. Question is, does Jonas want to just play his call? As you mentioned, those pay jumps currently sat 4th of 7.
Well, let's see if Mark goes. He does go and pulls the trigger very quickly as well. I don't think Jonas can fold here, to be honest.
It sucks that we got the 10 of diamonds in our hand, but the snap pot on the turn. I know Jonas is a bit of a timing tell wizard. And he's going to go deep into the tank on this one, understandably so. Card removal effects aren't great. As we mentioned, a 10 of diamonds, no queen, no jack, no 3, no 5 blocker. But I think in terms of minimum defense frequencies, as you mentioned, and just how high up in our range we are on a board texture, that, we don't have a significant polarity advantage. Or I guess it's actually quite close with the 10 on the turn.
Yeah, and we're also sitting against Mark, who's been active pre-flop, post-flop. Obviously, Jonas doesn't have the luxury of seeing the kind of hands that Mark was playing before. There were not so many showdowns.
This is true. But I think Jonas is going to fold. Sloop out saying small blind versus big blind over bluff. He does make the call. Wow.
Yeah, I like that call. I really like that call. It's obviously a tough one to make, but you have to. You have to. Running hot. A nice hand, Jonas. Good to see you. Good call. And to be honest, I think Mark, even though he played it as he does, aggressively, maybe a bit more aggressive than he should be, but still, I like the idea of pulling the trigger all the way. 3 bluffs.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's got a pretty decent hand for it. Obviously sucks that we block queen high diamonds, but my birthday saying RWPT prefer watching Runchuks. Not sure what RWPT means, but thanks for joining us. So does someone carry the bracelets? Well, I don't think people carry them. I know.
No, I think what he meant was, does somebody actually cares about the bracelets?
Oh, cares, right? Okay.
And as soon as Robbie Expert told him that, hey, it's around another 10 to 15,000 in the price of gold. Mm-hmm. I think once we hear that, then yep, everybody cares.
Yeah, I think my first bracelet is going to go to my parents. Going to just like, hey, mom and dad, put this one up on the wall. You know how like people collect basketball and baseball trophies and football trophies. Like, there you go. Right. Put that one up there.
I like how you put it, my first bracelet. Clearly, you're not thinking about just the one and only.
100% Runchuks. I'm actually, like, I told you, I've got my passion back. Like, I had like a 6-month period where it was just commentary. I wasn't too focused on poker. I was just traveling around being a bit lazy, but took a break for 2 months. And now that I'm back in the streets, I'm just loving PLO again. It obviously helps that I'm on an absolute heater at the moment as well. But I'm enjoying studying, so we're going to go hunting for some bracelets, 100%.
I think your heater started when you got out alive from that New York game. That when you were telling me about on the podcast. And if you guys haven't listened to the episode with Henry, go check out the episode. I mean, you're not going to regret it. It's one of the most interesting stories we had on the podcast, and we're lucky to still have Henry around. Guy's still walking, breathing, and there's lots to learn there. If somebody doesn't know, here's the link to the podcast. You can check it out there. It's on YouTube, on iTunes, or Apple Podcasts, whatever it's called, Spotify, Google Podcasts, pretty much anywhere. You can just search for the Runchuks podcast. And you should be. Oh, you posted the actual link. Very good. Very good.
Yeah.
So that's.
But yeah, honestly, I'm not just saying this, but it was hands down my most favorite podcast experience. And to the people in the chat, I apologize in advance about the prison haircut. It was peak quarantine. I was in lockdown and shaved off all my hair. But yeah, it was. It was a ton of fun, man. I think you just bring that out of people when you just had a conversation about life and poker. It's really enjoyable.
It was enjoyable.
I'll come back on after I win my first bracelet. Don't worry.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome.
We got a deal?
Absolutely, yeah. For the next 3 bracelets, at least. Let's put it this way. The next 3 we have a deal. If you keep on winning, I guess then I better have like a podcast that deserves you on a merit.
Brilliant, man. Brilliant. I'm gonna jump out for this 2 minutes awesome. Break. I'll be back in 2 minutes, man.
All right. See you in 2 minutes. In fact, of course, we could. This is a recording that we're watching, you guys, right? So we could fast forward the 2 minutes, but I actually just want to enjoy it, feel the real thing, and I don't want to know how much time is left on the footage. I just want to enjoy it as a spectator. I don't know who won. I don't know what happened. I hope you don't know either, because that way it's going to be more interesting for all of us. So let me just double check what are the pay jumps. Well, basically, actually, you can just see it for yourself. They're there on your screen. And speaking of the podcast, which we just brought up, today we published an episode with MMA Sherdog, the No Limit Hold'em crusher, the high stakes crusher, my fellow coach from Love the Spot. So you guys might want to check that out. It was an interesting conversation. We covered some of the hot topics currently, like Limitless against Linus Love, Negreanu against Polk, and a lot of other stuff. And of course, as always, we try to give some advice, some tips on how to improve your game, how to study more efficiently, etc., etc. And it's always interesting to have a conversation with MMA because obviously he's been at the top for several years, and I always admire people who have the consistency, the longevity, and the discipline to continue the hard work day in, day out. All right, another 30 seconds on the break, and we are going to get back to the action. All right. I just noticed actually that we still haven't seen Maxim play a single hand. So not surprisingly, he has only 8% VPIP. And not surprisingly, his stack size hasn't moved a lot. While Mark went from right around 9 million to 6 million, then back to 12, now back to 7.5. Maxim basically stayed right around the same stack. Interesting play by Mark. Obviously, Jonas is just... Oh, interesting. He decides to raise. I'm not sure if I like the raise, to be honest. I was about to say that Jonas is most likely just going to call, which would be absolutely a good play. Not sure what he accomplishes with raising his aces. Henry, you're right on time. Back into the action. Look what's happening. Not sure why Jonas is raising the flop. He would be better off letting Mark bluff on future streets, but as it were, Jonas just takes it down, and in fact, Jonas is now the chip leader.
He is indeed. He is indeed. Really nice guy, by the way. Got a lot of time for Jonas. Always happy to listen to my hand histories and give me his opinion. He's much more advanced his PLO career and Solver Jail career than I am.
My birth name is saying that maybe Jonas just didn't want to call 3 bullets with the aces.
Potentially,
but I'm not sure what does the raise accomplish. Because theoretically, it's still 3 bets. If you check on the turn, you're still calling a lot of the rivers.
Yeah, he's...
And Robbie Expert is asking, isn't Mark playing too loose given the 20 big blind stacks after him? And more so, given that the pay jumps are becoming significant now. I do agree. I think Mark is playing a bit too loose. Unnecessarily so, but it seems to be his style. That's his thing. On the contrary, Maxim played the first hand of the day, and unfortunately for him, Run into flush over flush.
Deciding to bet on the turn with his open ender and queen high diamonds. Gregor's with obviously 2 pair and gut shot, nut flush draw. I think played it well. Wow.
Now Georgi once again overvalues specific hand combinations. Yeah, probably less experienced player at the table. We see Mark do a lot of crazy stuff, but at least it seems like he understands the hand strength a bit better. But Georgi, for I want to say the third time, at least the third time, we see something quite dubious pre-flop from him. And all of the time it was something that might look deceptively strong, but in reality is not at all.
Checks it down all the way to the river. Georgi, given the rope, not taking it with a hand that you would assume he could potentially take. I guess blocking kings isn't great. Some of the hands that Mark could check down to the river that we try and get to fold. Robbie saying, if you're playing PLO events on a regular basis, should you play winner takes all till the last 3 or use ICM? That's a good question. I mean, it's a broad question as well. Obviously, depends on stack depth and ICM considerations in play with 7 left. Like, not too sure how I would proceed. I think Mark's taking the right approach with being aggressive, but I think he's overdoing it by quite some margin. I think he definitely has the right idea in mind, but just being a little bit too loose and a little bit too aggressive.
Yeah, and especially now that Jonas is sitting with a very deep stack behind him, theoretically Mark should tone it down a bit and slow down a bit, but I don't see it happening really. He probably is just going to continue in the same way. But one thing for sure, him being so aggressive, we see that the other people are actually getting tighter. The guys that are in front of him to act before him, basically, they have to be slightly tighter, because we've seen Mark make these little 3-bets in position at least twice. Well, this is going to be interesting. Mark's going to open this one. Jonas is playing his hand for sure. Everybody else getting out of the way, I would imagine. And we have the 2 chip leaders going head to head.
Yeah, Jonas seems to have been taking a somewhat slower variance route against Mark, and again electing to just flat the aces in position.
Yeah, I'm not sure I love that. Considering that Mark is so aggressive, it makes sense for us to 3-bet him. You can still control the pot in the 3-bet pot in position.
Yeah, I agree.
I suppose if Jonas doesn't want to 3-bet with a small sizing, like the strategy that Mark was using, then it sort of makes sense to keep the SPR very large. But I think Jonas should be using his position to the fullest. He is in position with the other deep stack, and just gonna have to raise 3-bet these aces once in a while, especially these. I mean, I understand when he was going for a call with ace, 8 deuce, rainbow, whatever that was, but this is a bit too strong.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Interesting. Well, if Mark finds the trigger here, I think it's going to work. Terrible run out for Jonas, having the Jack 10 blockers himself. And yeah, up to 9 mil. Clear chip leader now.
Well, Mark's most likely opening. Jonas should actually fold, I guess.
He is up against Mark, though.
Yeah, but
Does
there's
let it go.
so many short stacks behind him. He doesn't need to escalate things. Jonas has the best seat at the moment. He has he is the biggest stack, and he has immediate position on the other larger stacks. Well, Mark
Yeah.
loves this situation. Unfortunately, he's not going to get much action. Well, maybe Georgi is going to jump in, even though he shouldn't. He doesn't. Good to see that. Ruslan should get out of the way as well. Maxim's out. And Gregor's going to be out. Well, Mark's going to be kicking himself. He's going to think, listen, guys, I play 50% of my hands. I got aces and you all fold. That must be a bit frustrating.
Really looking forward to the next 30 minutes or so. Just got some really close stacks. Toby, Georgi, Ruslan, Maxim. Kind of all in an ICM cage.
And I like the positions at the table as well. This leads to a more interesting game, at least for us to watch. I mean, Jonas obviously loves his life. Mark, to be honest, Jonas is not making life hard for Mark so far. Hasn't been 3-betting, hasn't been floating too much. So, you know, I hope to see some of that. I hope to see Jonas start playing back. After all, he is the chip leader. He is supposed to apply some pressure here.
Bottom pair and an open ender. I'm just going to stick around. I'm not sure I approve of this button limp from Gregor's with the king, queen, jack 4. Triple suited,
I don't like it much either. I think if we learn something today, that's that people overrate that type of hand. We've seen that twice already. King, jack, king, queen, jack, small, single suited. It's not as good as you think. Well, I know you don't think that it's very good, but apparently Georgi and Gregor's both lean towards it's a great hand.
That's a huge barrel from Mark. I honestly, I still think there's a chance that he could go out in like 5th, 6th, or 7th.
Absolutely. But you know what? With his style, obviously much depends on how variance plays its role. But he's either going out, or he is very, very possible that he's going out very soon, or he's just going to basically be up there fighting for the bracelet. And Mark folded. Robbie Expert is pointing out. Indeed, Mark folded. Well, he's not going to fold now. Maxim folded double suited Jack 9-7. Early-ish position, but something to note.
We've got 3 players covered. Next pay jump worth 8K. We're sat in fourth in chips.
Mm-hmm.
4th going home with 57.9 thousand. And I'm not loving life in Toby's shoes here.
Yeah, he knows he's up against Mark. It is annoying to be run over, but it's pretty hard to play back. He doesn't have the stack size for check raising, and he's seen Mark barrel a lot.
Assume turn goes check. Be very surprised to see Mark bet this and Toby getting there on the river.
Right.
Courtesy of that 3 of clubs.
Yeah, I like the check. Still makes sense to check. And Mark checks behind. Good play by him as well. Well, Toby is happy to see 3 million in front of him.
Yeah, it gives him a bit of breathing room. And now Ruslan, the immediate short stack. Still comfortable, though. God, Toby.
Oh, man. That's funny.
With the snap cam.
Well, let's see if Toby plays this hand. I wouldn't be surprised if he just... All right, I like the limp. Ruslan's gonna have to check back. I don't see a reason for him to get out of line here. And I hope that Toby c-bets. He's probably taking it down. He doesn't.
Well, we're going to be betting this turn. One would assume. Just click the one big blind button, my man.
Oh, man. He thinks he's going to win a showdown with the 7, Jack 7. Well, now Ruslan's not folding his 2 pairs, so bluffing would not make sense. He's just going to have to probably check. Unfortunately, he didn't use 2 pretty good opportunities to bluff. This should have been Toby's pot.
Yeah, 10 of diamonds, decent removal effects from Ruslan's continuing range, and obviously we've got enough equity against the continuing range with the pair and an open ender on the turn.
Hey, Coffee Attack, good to see you in the chat, man. And Coffee Attack is asking if we have any giveaways. Actually, I don't know. I don't remember. Do you know? We should check.
I will. I'll put a message in the group,
Right.
see if
Let's see.
you get some tickets. Tickets we can give away on stream. See if anything comes back. We may have to rig the giveaway chat so that I win, but we'll let you know.
I never use the giveaway chat, so it's going to be very easy to rig.
Hit the real sailor. Runchuks and Henry, what's the biggest pot you've won and lost? Biggest pot I've lost is definitely much smaller than the biggest pot I've won, which is normally
Good
a good
for you,
thing.
man.
Yeah, I think biggest pot I've lost is probably not that big given the stakes. Actually, remember the hand history is pretty appalling from me. I think it was around about 5k. Biggest pot I've won is around about 20 something.
That's a beautiful gap you have there.
Yeah, it was in the same game as well.
Okay.
Yeah. Had a friendly 5-5 10 game running, and then a couple of businessmen, if you will, decided to both sit down with 50,000 euros. And I ended up cashing out for around about 28k in that game.
Nice. By the way, I want to point out that Gregor's, again, on the button, he limped. We've seen a dubious hand before. On this orbit, he did it with King 8. Oh, man, I forgot. But like King 8, deuce, something single-suited. Definitely doesn't deserve to be played. And, yeah, well, he limped it. I don't actually see the point, to be honest.
See if Mark opens this. Don't know why I'm even saying let's see if Mark opens this.
Yeah. Every time Mark has a hand, which is every time, I'm just checking who is going to play behind him. Well, now I can clearly see Georgi is going to play. Jonas might open his hand. Let's see if Georgi is going to go for a 3-bet or just a call. Considering how tight he is, I was about to say that calling would make sense. But can't blame him for this either. You know,
I like it.
He would be happy to just take down whatever is in the middle right now and not see a flop. He's going to have a comfortable stack. Pay jumps are high enough, so he's probably happy with the result if Jonas folds.
SPR is going to be less than 1 if Jonas decides to call. Does get out of the way. Gorky
like
moving
that.
up to 4th in chips. Toby could...
Gregors is Hollywooding a bit. Tough decision with aces, ends up opening.
Interesting spot on the button for Toby. Let's just let it go. I think if it's 10-8, 7-6 double, he's probably peeling, but...
Oh,
10,
wow,
7,
Maxim
7, 6.
folded. Maxim folded a pretty okay hand, even though it's against under the gun and against a tighter player under the gun, but especially because it's against a tighter player. Like, against Mark, I would be folding in Maxim's shoes, but against Gregor's, you actually want a hand like that because Gregor's gonna have a very top-heavy range, it's gonna be pretty ABC on the flops, and you have so many opportunities to steal the pot. You have so many opportunities to win a huge one when you actually flop hard.
Yeah, I agree. Checks through on the flop, by the way, and Greg was picking up a second flush draw on the turn.
I hope Mark checks behind now. Oh, well, unfortunately he doesn't.
I don't hate the bet. We definitely have a significant overpair advantage when we've opened from under the gun, and we now beat 10-6 some of the hands that would check raise flop, and we just drill the 3 of diamonds river just in case there was any doubt in our mind that we were behind. Must be nice. Hit the offsuit 3.
The funny thing, though, is that we were not really behind. We have the best hand on the turn.
We do, but
that would have
Mark
been funny, if Gregors would have checked and Mark decided to give up on the river and ends up winning with the ace high. That would make his day.
Like, can you imagine if Gregors just piles here? That would be so gangster. So, right, river to pair blocker. Let's just stick it in his eye. It'd be so out of line, but a great way to exploit our image, especially when Mark checks flop and bets turn. We have all of the boats in our range. But I think once we've tanked this long, it's Robbie Expert making a great point. Someone limping buttons probably doesn't bluff.
Wow. That is surprising, first of all.
Okay
is right. I'm not sure that was a great idea. He's blocking all of the flush draws, both of them.
Yeah.
Sure, he's not blocking the open-enders and such, but as Robbie Expert is saying, confirmed, poker is not dead.
Yeah, I'm pretty shocked at that hero call.
Yeah,
again,
let's call it a hero call.
As you already mentioned, like card removal effects, blocking spades and clubs.
Yeah.
Blocking some of the other bluffs as well, like 8-7-9 with our 8 blocker, which probably bets flop. That was
someone on Stars
hand.
is asking, which is not just someone on Stars, but actually someone on Stars, the nickname, is asking, is it the real Mark Herm or not? Well, it is a real Mark Herm because all of the names are real at the table. Whether it is the Mark Herm, I don't know, because I never heard of Mark Herm before, so I guess it's time to Google.
American reg, been around for a while, but yeah, I don't know him personally. Same as you. A couple of close bracelet opportunities. Came third in the 1500 no limit mix max back in 2014.
I don't want to check the Google actually right now because I don't want to get a spoiler for myself. I don't want to know. I'm rooting for Mark now because he's been the active guy. And like you said, it's still very possible that with his style of play, he's out quite soon. Or else he's going to be there at the end.
Yeah, he's been going for it, that's for sure. So he's been going after it.
Well, Jonas continues with his no 3-bet policy. Once again, I don't love this play. And Mark just does what Mark does. He does seem to c-bet a lot and barrel a lot. I mean, so far, the amount of aggression he's been putting is quite impressive.
That's a great turn card for Mark to just take this down.
Well, Jonas made it one good call against Mark already. And we leave it at 1 for now. It is a tough call for him with just kings and a top pair blocker. Especially, he probably knows that Mark is going to pull that trigger on the river again very frequently.
Yeah, great turn card for Mark. To just continue barreling. Oh, we haven't had a bust out in a while, Runchuks.
We haven't, and the blinds did go up. So now Ruslan is sitting with 10 big blinds. That's not a very comfortable stack. And of course, Ruslan has a VPIP of 4, so he played only 4% of his hands in the, well, on the final table, I guess. %. Right, Ruslan, 2%. 2% of the hands are aces.
Someone else does say thanks for streaming this, by the way, guys. Great content. You're more than welcome, my man.
Thank you. It's really enjoyable to do these streams, to watch the cards of everybody. Makes it easier, makes it more fun, and makes us think poker is not dead, and that's great news. Robbie saying he's waiting for a 52% equity pre-flop. Oh man, that's good.
All right. I don't hate this, by the way. I don't hate this.
What do you mean? He's
we're
open?
In third. No, he's limp.
Oh, he is limp. Well, yeah.
Just in case Ruslan or Toby or Maxim do pick up a hand behind, we get the check mark next to our name on the turn.
Well, he did make a lot of checks. Not gonna get paid if he goes for value. Although we have Gregor's the hero caller in the small blind, you never know.
This would be extremely ambitious. Yeah.
Oh, man. Toby would have had the straight flush.
Wow.
Well, Ruslan found the hand that he wants to pot, unsurprisingly. Well, Gregor's got out of the way with a pretty strong hand himself, and rightfully so. He can't really get it in there against Ruslan. Makes no sense. So, yeah. Well, Ruslan just took down the blinds. What do you think about his idea of just potting it instead of doing what everybody else is doing and opening it small?
I don't think we want to incentivize the big blind to defend correctly versus
Right.
like a min open at that stack depth. So I think just pushing our equity a little bit makes more sense. Although, I mean, we are the immediate short stack, so there are some arguments to, you know, not as much ICM pressure on us. We do want to find a spot. But yeah, I think pot size open at that stack depth makes sense.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, man, because it's if we pot size open, we're sort of stuck with the 4% of hands that we play. If we were to start min opening and using the fact that everybody knows that basically we're super tight, he would have a chance to steal a couple blinds at least.
It does defend. So his VPIP's going to go up to around about 6% after this hand.
That's true. Jonas is quite likely to just win this hand. I don't think Ruslan's gonna bluff here, considering how he's playing pre-flop. It would be quite ambitious to bluff, and Jonas actually goes for value. Well, I assume he's going for value. He must know that hands that are stronger than his are actually not folding.
There we go, up to 6%.
Fantastic. So we got 2 players on 8%.
And Mark lost that chip lead for a few hands, but he's done a great job of separating himself from the rest of the pack again. And
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And it just pains to see that Jonas didn't really use that golden opportunity he had. When he had a bigger stack, he has the perfect position. He can apply a lot of pressure against Mark. He could have been 3-betting, building some pots. Unfortunately, he didn't go for it, and Mark is once again the chip leader.
Bill's going to defend here, one would assume. Well, it helps when we just flop the nizzles when we're abusing the ICM situation of running over the table.
Absolutely. Unlikely that he's getting a lot of money from Gregor's, or although this is Gregor's, he made a hero call previously with the bottom pair. So he goes for 1 call. Not sure that he's going to find more calls, though, in this hand.
Someone on Stars asking for the king on the turn.
King on the turn would have been horrible for Gregor's. My birth name's asking if I invest my money anywhere. I do. I'm not qualified to give you guys any advice on that, so I'm not going to attempt to. I didn't have any financial guys on the podcast just yet, but I actually am planning to talk to somebody on the topic of finance, but we haven't had anybody yet.
All right, I think we may have a response.
And Io, hello, welcome to the chat. And I know exactly the response you're talking about. We do have a little giveaway for our viewers. We just need to come up with what exactly are we doing.
All right. Well, one of my favorite giveaways to do, Runchuks, that I've been doing recently is to play Loddon Thinks with whoever I'm sharing the commentary booth with.
Okay.
So, for example, you could be the brain, and then people in the chat have to try and guess what you think the answer to my question is. So we could potentially have a bit of fun of that, gets the chat interactive and involved, and give away some tickets into the 5K main event.
Absolutely. Yeah, we have a few tickets to give away. as you said, to the 5K main event. And someone on Stars is saying, Loden thinks let's effing go. Do you want to start now, or are we going to start on the next break?
Let's do one now. We got 3 tickets to give away, so we got plenty of time.
All right, let's just explain the rules for those who don't know. So basically, you ask a question, right? You ask a question. I need to think of the answer, and people need to guess what I think the answer is.
That's exactly right. So you'll text me the answer privately, and then we'll give the chat 5-10 minutes, whatever, to get their answers in, and whoever's closest gets himself a $50 ticket.
Yeah, it's a fun game.
Yeah.
Oh, look at this. Now let's not jump ahead here. Well, actually, everybody's gonna fold this time. Mark's gonna be probably pissed. Beautiful aces and absolutely the quickest folds he's seen all day. So that's the second time he has aces. Everybody folds. Well, Toby's gonna. I was about to say Toby's gonna be in the same shoes, but no, Toby's gonna get a chance to 3-bet and take this extra 280 that Mark just threw into the pot. I'm assuming. I don't think Mark is calling here. He's thinking about it though.
Doesn't like to fold from what we've seen. All right. He does let it go.
Did we actually, how did we say it? Did we say that we have tickets to the satellite of the 5K main event, not the actual correct. 5K tickets? Because I'm just wondering, did we say that we're giving away 5K tickets? That would be for another day, guys. But no, we have the satellite tickets for the 5K, which is still awesome.
Still a chance to get into the 5K main for free.
I always saying, yeah, I did say the 5K tickets.
Oh, my bad.
Oh, man. I think we both said the same thing, but obviously we both were thinking about the satellite tickets because clearly we're not there yet. We're not able to give away the 5K tickets left and right. The casual 5K ticket for Loden things. Imagine on a stream.
All right, I've got a question for you. So if you want to get ready to send me your answer, right. Don't forget, boys and girls, in Loden Thinks, there is an unwritten rule that you are not allowed to bully the brain. All right, so whatever Runchuck's answer is, that's up to him. There are no stupid answers. Well, right. Sometimes there are. But
and you guys don't know how much I know about the guy as well. And you're not gonna know because we're not talking about that, right? Or can they poke with questions? No, I don't know. We'll see. We'll adjust as we go. But all right, I'm getting ready to type it out for you.
Okay. So my question is, because it's a bit of a unique situation we're in, how many planes do you think there are in the sky at this moment worldwide? Just to clarify, that's not just passenger jets. That includes private jets, just all planes worldwide. How many planes do you think are in the sky at this one moment in time?
Mm-hmm. Of course, the question is, how many planes do I think Loden thinks?
Yes.
Are in the sky at this time?
Well, you are Loden at the moment. You are the brain.
Yeah, but I have to think about like he would. Or do you want me just to think like I would? Or are we playing the double bluff of, what does he think? No, what do I think he thinks? Well, actually not, because we can't ask him. So what's the point?
Yeah, so it's just you're the brain.
Right. At this time, wow.
Someone will start saying, lol, he thinks Loden is someone else. You are Loden, Runchucks.
All right, well. So don't be surprised with my fucking plain answer, because I don't even know who I am. Who am I? This quarantine thing, the COVID situation has been too harsh on me, apparently. Well, let's look at the hand play out, because this is going to be... Actually, this is not going to be anything. Georgi is going to win. He likes to check and turn the flush. Happens quite often with him. Anyway, so I'm typing out the answer. Still thinking about it.
Right, one second. We're gonna have to choose a different one
Why?
because Coffee Attack just typed the answer in the chat. Why would you type that for a giveaway?
But why? What do you mean?
Well, because you can see in the bottom of your screen what Coffee Attack typed in.
Yeah, but I didn't see, and
Oh, okay. You haven't seen it.
no, I haven't seen
All
it.
right. Go ahead.
Because I'm actually typing on a different screen, so no worries there. Coffee Attack didn't spoil anything, or didn't, Actually, the one thing that happened was like, oh, we have to come up with another one. So I typed something real quick and I sent it. And I think I want to change my answer, but no. Let's go with this one. It's fun. We can have a laugh about it.
So chat, Runchuks has sent me his answer privately. So we'll give you a few minutes to get your answers in the chat, and whoever guesses closest to Runchuks' answer. So Runchuks is the brain. My question was, how many planes do you think are in the sky at this one moment? Well, for this very moment. We'll give you a few minutes. Whoever gets closest to get themselves a $50 5K main satellite ticket. This is the fun part, Runchuks. It's where you start sweating.
Yeah,
what everyone else
I'm looking at the.
Oh man! Wow, what a dreamy turn card for Maxime. Turning the second nuts, takes it down.
I like how many people are going for like really precise answers. Imagine if somebody actually gets the number exactly.
Yeah, I've had some very close ones. I've done a few of these giveaways.
Oh, look at this. Mark went for a 3-bet. And really quick one as well. What I like about Mark is he doesn't Hollywood. He doesn't try to, doesn't. Oh, man. Georgi, you didn't even let me finish the sentence because I am slightly disappointed with Georgi there.
Wow. Well, he's flopped top 2 and the gut shot leads for pot.
Well, let's see.
Against the wrap. Backdoor hearts. Toby needs help. 27.5% going to the river. Needs paint.
I like that peeling card, and it's an ace. It's an ace. There's only one card. One card that looks like this.
Well. Toby just casually pinging off a 50k river card, 50k in equity river card. I'm loving some of these guesses. So Pandas with the 6969. You troll. It's all good, Coffee Attack. No worries. Says, sorry guys, I unmuted the stream right when the question was asked. Didn't know anything. Bad typing. No worries, man. Apology accepted. Comes in.
No worries at all, because I was deep into the tank. I wasn't even looking at the screen where the chat is, so wouldn't have even known if you guys haven't pointed it out.
Alchemech Cry saying 1200, ship it.
Sloophout's asking who has Discord open. So unprofessional. I got Discord open because guess what? We are over Discord with Henry here because we can't sit in the same room, unfortunately, as much as we want. We actually had the plan to do that. You were supposed to come over to my place, and we would have done it the good way, the professional way, sitting together. But no such luck because of the COVID situation. Plans have changed dramatically because obviously in Malta right now, the virus is picking up strength again, and the number go up situation is back on the cards.
We have not had a bust out in a very long time. Been a while since we lost Rahul, sorry. And well, I don't think Jonas can fold after opening. Needs some help from the deck. Queen and a queen only. I'd be so sick if he pills a queen. 3 of diamonds.
Toby was asking for the one time. You suck.
Are we saying queen, queen, 6 deuce versus 12 bigs? It wasn't 12 bigs. It was 1.2 million. Sorry, 1.15 million. So, what, 7 big blinds after opening 2 point something X?
Yeah, perhaps opening was a problem.
Yep. I agree. Jonas defending versus a pot size open with the ace queen 6 deuce single.
Balls and welcome to the chat. And by the way, Henry, maybe you can remind about our current giveaway in progress. People still have some time to write their answers. For those of you who just joined, we're playing.
Do it.
Go ahead.
Boys and girls. We're giving away 3 $50 satellite tickets into the 5K main. We're going to slowly release them. First chance to win one of the 3 tickets is to guess what Runchuck's answer was to my Loddon Thinks question, which was how many planes does Runchucks think are in the sky at this very moment? So it's not what the actual answer is, so Google's not going to help you. It's what you guys think Runchucks thinks is the answer. Could potentially have a bit of a car crash here. Gregor's may decide to go with this hand, especially after Toby's limped.
I think limping behind would be a good decision.
I agree.
But raising, I hope he doesn't go for it.
He's going to be in big trouble if he does. Toby starting the hand around 30 bigs effective. Gregor's deep in the tank. Does let it go.
Yeah, I'm happy to see him let it go. Well, Mark, though. Mark does what Mark does best. Let's see if Toby goes for the famous limp raise. He does.
Yeah.
Mark should be folding here, to be honest.
Yeah, the fact that we can have an SPR less than 1 going to the flop, 1 going to the flop, I like this. We can get over, a third of our stack in the middle pre-flop.
Mark is thinking about it, but I don't see how he can call.
Yeah, especially versus the range that Toby's representing. When there's 3 stacks considerably shorter than his, I think it's a pretty faced-up range.
He did find a fold, or it's unclear. Maybe he timed out. That's unlikely, right? Because the timer just keeps running.
Yeah, he's got over 10 minutes in the time bank.
right, Gregors goes for pot. Well, quick folds from everyone. Not surprising.
All right, guys, give you another couple of minutes on that question. 8:45 will reveal the answer.
Awesome. I'll make a comment for our giveaway. Unless somebody beats me to it. All right. What did I miss?
I'm looking at flight radar right now.
Oh, you are? That's going to be interesting. I want to know the real answer.
That is insane. Wow. You just don't think there's, like, you can barely see any of the surface. It's just all covered in planes.
Well, they're maybe not up to scale, man. So don't worry. It's not that bad.
Especially America. Like, you literally
America's
can't
always
see.
freaking covered, yeah.
So the COVID doesn't exist in America, boys and girls. Right. We will announce the winners after this hand.
All right. Fantastic.
The winner, I should say.
The winner, because we actually do have one guy guessing the exact number.
We do indeed. Well, Mark takes down that pot. So I asked Runchuks, how many planes does he think are in the sky at this one moment in time? One moment in time sounds like a song.
Yeah,
and he texted me privately and said 15,000. And we had DDB555 get it bang on with the 15,000 guess in the chat. So it's going to be getting himself a $50 satellite ticket. And Runchuck, just to let you know, I know you wanted to know how many planes there are in the sky at this moment. It's 11,000. So
11,000.
Yeah.
All right.
That was a pretty good guess.
Right. But that's 11,000 commercial flights.
So that's all flights.
All flights. Oh, of course, because, you know, the other ones are not exactly flying under the radar unless they're flying from Colombia to LA or Miami. But there must be at least like a dozen of those in the sky right now.
Yeah, maybe.
But yeah, 11,000. Interesting.
Yes.
Close.
It's interesting looking at where they're spread out as well. Like South America, not that many planes. Australia, not that many planes. Africa, not that many. And then Europe and America are just covered. Even Asia doesn't have that many flights.
Yeah, but it's pretty early in the morning right now in Asia.
True. This is true.
So the time zone situation probably makes Asia a bit less quiet at the moment. Anyway, I'm still writing the command. What should I put for people? So we're giving away 3 $50 satellite tickets. 2 $5,000 main event. And I'll leave it at that. Whenever somebody is asking for the command, we're just going to explain what's up. What do you think?
We will.
All right. So we have the command there, giveaway. And probably makes sense to update the title of the stream so that people actually know that, you know, there is a giveaway. There
is a giveaway.
It was a good question, by the way, Henry. I don't know how the hell did you come up with this. I've never thought about it before. How many planes in the sky? It's an interesting piece of trivia for sure.
Yeah, I like Lodden things, man. You can go so many ways. You can get philosophical. I could ask you, what would be your price to chop off a random person's arm, no repercussions, to try and find out a little bit more about your integrity and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, random part is the difficult, For some it would be I'd pay to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I know. Yeah. Ari saying, so basically, Henry, the most populated areas have the most plane traffic. Really? Do you want to compare the population of Asia to Europe? Nice one, dude. Just made yourself look. Don't worry, by the way, Runchuks, me and Ari, we always have this banter on stream. So we always give each other grief.
Oh, you guys go ahead. I like a bit of banter. So what's going on? 5 hands before the new blind level. Ruslan and Gregors are both pretty short at the moment. Wow, Gregors found the call with a crappity crap. This guy, I don't understand him. He plays tight, but then he just does things like this.
Does indeed.
All right, we have a 6-minute break. As always, we could skip ahead, but I actually don't wanna because I think, I don't want any spoilers. I don't want to know how much we have left in the footage. I just want to take it as it goes. So let's just see it rolling. I think it's too soon for the second question, right?
Oh yeah, 100%. We got time. We got
time. We're gonna wait for it. But it was fun. I'm pumped up. This is awesome. We should just play this game occasionally. Just do a full stream of this game.
Yeah, I also want to grab a coffee, even though it is 9 p.m.
What happened to tea? I remember you always drinking a lot of tea.
I was when I was in America. Yeah.
Oh, because the coffee is so bad there. Okay. I see.
Well, yeah. When I was in the UK, I was drinking a lot of tea as well. It's just because we have the best tea in the UK. No, I'm joking. We don't. Don't worry, chat. I'm not that obnoxious British guy that thinks English tea is the best. I've been to Japan. I know how amazing it is over there. I haven't been to Japan, by the way, but I'd love to. I'm going to grab a coffee, man, and when I come back, I'm going to probably order some food so that it arrives, towards the end of the final table when we finish.
All right. That's all good. And I'm going to try to change the screen for you guys to see the payouts and such. That's going to be interesting. We're going to see a bit of fun. All right. So you can see the situation now with the stack depths. And yeah, I hope it's a bit helpful. IO is saying Russian tea is the best. Is it? Anyway, so let's check the payout situation. It's a bit too small for me on my screen, so I need to... Sorry for rambling. I know you don't see exactly what's going on my screen, but... and the reality is just I need glasses. So yeah, I don't even see the payouts. But anyway, let's check the situation. So the button is going to be on Mark, if I remember correctly, or Gregor's. Or was it the last hand where Gregor's actually defended with the crappy Jack 7-7-3 or something like that on the big blind? It might have been the last hand. Mark is definitely sitting with a very comfortable lead at the moment. Unfortunately, Jonas didn't use the situation to his advantage. He was in best seat at the moment, at one moment. Maxim was playing really tight and just taking the right spots. It worked out for him beautifully. Toby was following somewhat the same strategy as well, just playing it tight, looking for the right opportunities. Yeah, Ari, I completely agree with you. This is a great idea from GG Poker to have the total time, the total timer, and also on top of that, that the blind levels are moving in number of hands as opposed to on the timer. That makes things much better as well, because there's less incentive for people to tank, there's less incentive for people to Hollywood, there's less incentive for playing slow, and it makes it much more enjoyable, much more pleasant to watch. And as we were talking with Henry in the beginning of this stream today, that a lot of people get a chance to play a WSOP event where they otherwise would never have done it. So it's a great opportunity for some new players to get the passion for poker, let's put it this way, and possibly next year or whenever the next year when WSOP is going to be held in Vegas again, maybe they're going to go for the real thing. All right, so we're resuming. The play is resuming. Toby has aces. I would assume that Mark is going to defend regardless of the sizing that Toby chooses. I don't think Toby's going to potting it. Yeah, going for the min open. Mark definitely going to be defending. Gregor should get out of the way. He is tanking a bit. And I would assume that Mark is not going to lose more money on this board. Welcome back, Henry.
Thank you very much, good sir.
Your buddy Toby just won a hand with aces. All good for him.
Yeah.
Coffee Attack is asking if I think that WSOP Online is going to be a permanent thing moving forward. Interesting question. I definitely enjoy WSOP Online as a format. I think it's a great idea. It's very enjoyable. It's very fun to watch. It's fast-paced. And Ruslan decided to gamble, basically. I don't know how else to describe it.
Yeah, it gets through.
It gets through. Beautiful. Well played by Ruslan. Absolutely like this play. With his image, he's definitely getting a lot of credit for having a super strong hand. And the worst case, he is flipping.
Yeah, it always has enough equity against anyone. Against any range.
DDB is asking about The ticket, how does it work? I think the easiest way is for you to send me a message on Twitch. So send me a whisper on Twitch with your GG Poker account name, and you're going to get the ticket that way.
Mr. Bunny Kebab saying, "What would you do with Ruslan's hand there?" Oh, hey, by the way, I think it's more than fine to raise pot, as Runchuks mentioned, with our image, and we've always got enough equity with Jack 10 8 7 double against a stack off range. Seems absolutely fine in my books. I've got another question prepared, Runchuks, for the next giveaway.
Nice.
I think we'll wait for another bust out, and then we'll do a giveaway.
I like that. Yeah, let's do it on a bust out. That's a good kind of mark. I would want to say let's do it between the two bust outs, but it's so unpredictable. We might get two in a very quick succession, or we might have to wait for an hour. I want to say for the last hour, nobody busted.
It's been seven-handed for a very long time. Very long time. And it wouldn't surprise me if we have a few bust outs in quick succession once we do lose someone else. Jacks are going to win at Showdown. Mark deciding to not barrel on the turn once he picked up a ton of equity. He's going to give this one up after checking turn. Twitch chat is so funny. Mary Heskey saying,
"Oh, Mary Heskey asking about her son Emil Heskey." Okay.
Oh man. Yeah, he used to miss a lot of open goals, Mary. Need to have a word with him. My father shed a lot of tears over Emil Heskey.
Well, Maxim's gonna most likely... What? I was about to say, he has to defend this. I don't know. Okay, well, let's think about it this way. Actually, ICM, right? So Gregor's, Georgi, and Ruslan, but especially Georgi and Gregor's, are on the shorter side, less than 10 big blinds at the moment. So actually making that tight fold from Maxim's perspective is probably a great way to make sure that you're getting some of that pay jump.
Yeah, I agree. We've got 2 7 big blind stacks. Be an absolute disaster to obviously end up going out in 7th. $20,000 difference between 7th and 5th.
Yeah, that's already quite sizable. Now this is just gonna go all the way, fold, fold, fold. Maxim now wakes up. Not sure. What is Mark doing? What happened?
This is amazing.
I have no idea what happened, and it's beautiful.
Mark is just putting on an absolute clinic. He's got 2 times what second place has. Just been running over this table.
And insta raised as well. He knew that he's gonna do it. I'm not sure why he chose the specific hand, because it is quite a bit of a trash.
Because fuck ICM, Runchuks.
I suppose so. Just play the man, play the man, play the flag.
Well,
okay.
could potentially have a double bust out here.
We could, yeah. Georgi. Wow, insta-fold by Georgi. I like that. Well, I like to see that. Let's put it this way.
Oh,
Oh, wow.
heart or an ace needed.
And it's not. Wow.
Man, Gregor's had so many chips. He was
Yeah,
second in chips for such a long time.
he was. And Maxim sucks out. But can't blame Maxim for being all in that hand, obviously. Okay, well, Georgi is gonna probably bust out soon as well, or double up, but you know, it remains to be seen.
All
But
right.
potentially we're gonna be down to 5 pretty quickly, and then the stack sizes are gonna be quite even if we discount Mark sitting there with a huge lead. Well, Henry, what do you say? Is it the time for the giveaway? Our second question
It
of the day.
is.
Let's go.
Let's do it. Right. My question to you, Runchuks, is how deep do you think the deepest point in the ocean is? So have a think, channel that, National Geographic, those documentaries that you've watched. I want it to, so in meters, if you can, so that the chat can try and guess to the closest meter.
Okay. I almost typed it in the wrong chat. That would have been weird. Someone randomly just receiving a number and no. So you have it, Henry.
Right. Boys and girls, I have the answer. So to be in with a chance of winning yourself a $50 satellite ticket to the 5K main, I want you to type in the chat box what you think Runchuks thinks is the answer to the following question. How deep does Runchuks think the deepest point in the ocean is in meters? And whilst we're at it, well, Mark could have potentially stacked Ruslan, but by leading flop, Ruslan is going to be able to stick around for another orbit or so. Very Heskey said, did Henry run deep in this event? I wish. Wasn't able to play it on Wednesday. I had commentary commitments. We ran deep in the 1500. We will try and run deep in the next 1500 next week as well. Coffee Attack asking a great question, saying, do we have to play tighter or looser due to the ICM implications? Well, depends on your stack size. I've obviously seen Mark playing insanely wide and aggressive.
He's thinking about it here. He pulls the trigger. Quick fold by Jonas. Wow, Mark is just running the table over. Mr. Bunny Kebab is asking, what did he miss? Hello, welcome to the chat. We have a giveaway, which I almost misspelled, but it's right here. We're giving away some tickets to the satellite to the main event, and Henry is going to explain to you the rules.
Oh, Mary, you're hilarious. And yeah, so this is the second ticket. We're giving away $50 ticket to the 5K main, as Runchuks mentioned, and I asked him a question. The question is, how deep does Runchuks think the deepest point in the ocean is? So it's not the actual answer. You don't need to Google it. You need to just type in the chat what you guys think Runchuks' answer to that question is. Oh, I'm looking forward to dinner. Wow,
You're looking
trying
forward
to
to
make
dinner.
something.
Please don't start. don't go there. Don't go there. But luckily, I had the foresight of having a light. Well, let's call it light early dinner just before we started, because I knew that otherwise it would not be pleasant. All right, Georgi is in. Jonas can't fold anymore. Only 1 million. Okay. Scratch that. Jonas can easily fold now. Let's see if Maxim goes 2-4-2 with kings against aces, and this is getting ugly. I love the peeling card. Let's see if it's a 9, and Maxim goes 2-4-2. Kings against aces. 2 eliminations in a row. First against Georgi, and now against... No, that now was against Georgi, and before it was against Gregor's.
Yeah, Ruslan just loving life with his 3.4 big blinds.
Oh, absolutely. What was the pay jump, by the way?
12k pay jump and a 20k pay jump with the two bust outs. So everyone now guaranteed $42,000. What a life! What a life! Cooking it saying my 2 favorite Twitch poker personalities are one stream. It's like heaven. Handsome Hank and Runchuks, international man of mystery. Henry, how's mum and dad? Mum and dad are doing extremely well. They're gonna come and join me in Bulgaria beginning of next month. Said to them, you know, you get the flights, I'll get you a hotel. Come and visit me for a bit, because I don't plan on returning to the UK at all this year. And Mr. Buddy Kebab saying, "Yikes! Are you guys high?" I don't think so. No, I think we're all right. We good.
We're good. that didn't sell your case. All right. We're good. Not high. Definitely not high though. And no elimination this time. So Ruslan likes his life even more. It did look pretty bleak for him at some point, and here we go.
Well, Jonas
still
gonna
short
run this.
though. Still pretty short, obviously. 7.5 big blinds. Jonas is gonna get some action from Mark, I would assume.
I assume he just picks up the 500k.
All right.
Fix ping, please. Saying, is that a call with 3, 6, 9, 10? Yeah, we've got a big blind invested facing a 3.4 big blind jam. I guess it is. Guess it is. And Ruslan with the best of it. Well, not anymore.
Well, Maxim definitely running hot at the final table. Let's see if the 67% holds. It does.
Wow.
Well,
and just like that, Runchuks, we're down to 4.
We're down to 4, and the guy who Ruslan was probably thanking for giving him the extra 20k eliminates, said Ruslan.
Does.
Pretty fun last 10 minutes, I have to say. A lot of bust outs, a lot of fun stuff.
Oh, everyone guaranteed 57,882 after that bust out. Cookie just said, you're in Bulgaria, not playing with mechanics, I hope. Don't you worry, mate. I am not. Well, if any of you are wondering what Cooking It is talking about, Runchuks was kind enough to invite me onto his podcast a couple of months back. And a link is in the chat there for you. Runchuks, should we announce the winner of the giveaway?
Let's go for it, yeah.
Let's do it. I'm going to have a little scroll. So the second giveaway of the day, don't forget, we've got one more. So don't worry if you haven't won yourself a ticket yet. I asked Runchuks what he thinks the deepest point in the ocean is. And he messaged me privately and said 11,000 meters, 11 kilometers deep, which, by the way, is a pretty good guess. I think it's not too far off the actual answer. And for the second time today, Runchuks, we had someone get
with an
the
exact
answer
number. Yeah.
with an exact number. And it was big, girthy potato Rio in there with the 11,000. What a boss. So you know what to do, my man. Message one of us, whisper one of us with your GG email or mobile phone number. We will get that ticket credited into your account.
Yeah, and congratulations, of course, Big Girthy and DDB555. You both guys have the tickets. We still have one more to go. How much time do you think we have? I mean, are we going to see a lot of bust outs real quick? I think we can take it easy. We don't rush. Worst case, we just run our giveaway. Towards the end, but I'm sure we still have time. There's 4 people playing. Nobody's horribly short, and unless Maxim keeps getting it in with the worst hand and just binking it, then we are not at risk of having quick eliminations here.
By the way, the Mariana Trench is the deepest part of the ocean.
Yeah,
located on Earth, 11,034 meters. So I got a funny feeling you've been watching too many.
I actually remember this fact from school. Imagine.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I forgot about the 34 meters. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna make the next one a fun one. We're gonna make it money related. See what kind of integrity you have. I would say, Runchuks, my red line is high, my blue line is slightly losing. Am I bluffing too much? Probably means that you're overcalling too much as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It could mean that as well.
Nothing wrong with being a red line warrior, though. The lag tag isn't one of the worst tags to have. Balls his head, imagine remembering things from school. Balls it, man. I was talking to a friend about this the other day. Like, that's just everything I studied in school was gone out the window. I wanna do, like, I can't imagine, whenever it is that I have kids and they bring home their their 3rd grade English or science or whatever it is, and I'm just like, I'm sorry, you need to speak to your mother because I don't have a fucking clue. Gonna be in a ton of trouble.
You might just need to make things up.
Dad, what's 5 times 5? 20.
Just imagine all the things about geography and history. That's the fun part. That's where you can get really the creative juices running, except your kid is going to be the butt of the joke in school on an occasion.
I'm just gonna learn it again. I wouldn't mind doing a refresher course.
Oh, look what happened here. Mark pulled one of his 3-barrel bluffs and Toby looked him up. Obviously pretty easy for him to do. He had the nut flush blocker and he had the top 2 pair. Blinds just went up.
Yeah. Interestingly, Mark again didn't barrel turn when he picked up a ton of equity. It's a really strange approach.
Oh wait, he didn't barrel turn. I thought he
didn't
bet
barrel turn
3 times. Okay, I misread that.
Bet flop, check turn, bet river, and he's trying to realize a lot more with hands that don't actually have that much showdown value, which is quite an interesting approach to take. We'll see if he adjusts to that, but yeah, Jonas Kronwitter now the immediate short stack. Everyone guaranteed 58k. Not bad, Runchuks, for an $800 investment.
Yeah, absolutely. Imagine that's even just the fourth place. And of course, the winner is getting 140,000 thereabouts. So Maxim is building up a stack quite rapidly, obviously thanks to his exploits with kings and ace king. Oh wow, Jonas found a bad time to get it in. Has 40%, but it definitely sucks to put your
Wow.
tournament live on the 40%, and he does win.
Wow. Interesting that he decided to defend with that hand as well.
Yeah, I was about to say it's a rainbow, somewhat connected, but can't really blame him. I mean, Maxim now definitely is going to be playing quite a few more hands now that he has a deep stack. Mark finds another open, and this time Jonas goes for a 3-bet. As we saw in the early stages of the final table, Jonas pretty much never 3-bet. He had multiple opportunities. He never 3-bet against Mark. Now, obviously, with the 50,000 already in the pocket, it makes sense to go for the win.
Couple of hands that could collide here.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, what do you think Toby's gonna? Well, yeah, Toby's gonna raise. See how quick they're playing. It's great to watch. Normally, four-handed final table, you would not be surprised to see somebody tank for a minute or two before making their decision.
Very true. I like the complete from Maxim. Just don't give Mark the chance to put you in the bin. Always playing as limp cool. And unfortunately just getting out flopped, even though we have Mark's hand dominated. Mark flopping the second nuts. The Mariana Trench, 11,000 meters deep. Can you imagine the pressure on your lungs?
I think that's the least of your problems, mate. When you're down there, the pressure on your lungs is probably not the biggest problem that you have.
I've just been doing a lot of scuba diving recently, and yeah, it can be quite daunting. You're going anything over 30 meters deep.
Yeah, as a scuba diving, for scuba diving for sure, with the compressed air. But if you're free diving, for example, there's no problem really.
My birthday, I'm saying you're not going to scuba there. I know, Jesus, man. I love how Twitch chat takes everything I say so literally. I know I'm not going to scuba dive there. Robbie Expert saying, how many final tables do the casters have? I've played about 4 tournaments in the last 2 years. WPT Opener, WSOP Circuit PLO High Roller, WSOP 1500 PLO event, and there's one more in there somewhere. The Lucky Sevens WSOP Circuit Hold'em event, and the only FT I have was the WPT. Ran like a god, and yeah, binked it. Oh, didn't bink the tournament, but we binked the run good.
Yeah, I don't even know about myself. I don't remember playing any tournaments in the last 2 years. I probably
That's
did
it.
a few. Every year I try to play at least a couple just to make doubly sure that I hate them so that I don't attempt again. Somehow every year I end up jumping into one of the tournaments, at least the one. But in the beginning, when I started playing poker some 13, 14 years ago, whenever it was, I actually played a lot of Hold'em tournaments. I was a Hold'em player, played a lot of tournaments, so I won a fair share of small tourneys. That was my way of building the bankroll.
And now you're just the cash game beast.
Well, the beast part is up for discussion, but cash game animal sounds more appropriate.
Mark going with the 3x open. Oh boy, Jonas with the bad timing with the naked kings. This is a hand that we could actually 3-bet fold, even though we put in a third of our stack.
You're right. Yeah, 3-bet folding would have been perfectly fine. Not sure why he 3-bet in the first place, though. Really not sure why he 3-bet in the first place. Now, quite a decision. Wouldn't be surprised to see him fold.
I think 3-bet folding's fine. It's obviously disgusting that you have to put in a third of your stack and fold the equity that our hand has, but against Mark's getting range, we just don't have the greatest amount of equity in the first place. I'd be very surprised to see Jonas call here. I mean, if he does call and Mark holds, it's going to have around about 18 million of the 35 million in play.
Yeah, I don't see how Jonas can call. He probably is kicking himself for 3-betting in the first place. He probably knows that it wasn't called for. So no need to 3-bet these bad kings. And yeah, the tournament life is on the line with crappy kings. Okay, we picked up some outs.
Shocked.
And this is brutal. And it's a deuce. That's it. I don't know why I got excited about the deuce. I somehow thought the deuce helps him, but of course it doesn't. And now Mark is with a dominant lead.
Well. I'm pretty shocked at that, but there we go. Down to 3. Everyone guaranteed $79,760 for their efforts. And as Runchuks just mentioned, Mark with a pretty dominant lead, over half the chips in play, 3-handed.
Yeah. It's sad to see Jonas get out in such a fashion. He did make a few good plays. He made a good call against Mark earlier on. There were some plays which I definitely didn't agree with because I think he missed the golden opportunity to use his position. He had a beautiful spot at the table where he was the chip leader, and Mark and the other third biggest stack, they were all in the immediate position or out of position to Jonas rather, so he had the best seat. And he didn't use the opportunity. He didn't 3-bet. He played it safe. And nothing wrong with playing safe, except it really is sad to see him drop out in such a fashion. And Papi's asking, what's up with the 10-minute time banks? Well, the time bank for the final table is set at 15 minutes for everyone, and that's all the time that you get. So there is no individual time bank for each specific hand, and you just have the 15 minutes allocated to yourself. We of course see that Mark Steinbank is the shortest at the moment, which is not surprising because he has been playing over 50% of his hands so far.
I'm just looking at Loddon Thinks questions on 2+2 in Reddit.
All right.
To try and find a fun one for the final giveaway.
Toby loving his life here with the trips.
Oh, I found it. Oh man, I found the question. This is brilliant. This is such a random question, and it was apparently asked on Poker After Dark.
Okay.
Between Alesra and Patrick Antonius. So,
all right. I don't think I've seen. Doesn't ring. Well, I don't know. Maybe I've seen some of the Poker After Dark, so I don't know. Coffee Attack, by the way, asking who won the second one. The second one went to Big Girthy Potato. He was the winner of the second one, of course. Hey, look at this. Well, I don't know why I got excited again, because it's basically Mark pulling the trigger 3 times and just finding out that Toby indeed had a very, very strong hand. I guess that's Maxim's favorite hand. Kings.
He jammed the dry full. Yeah, it was pretty sick. Basically turning his hand into a bluff to get weak flushes to fold rather than just calling.
Yeah.
Pretty gangster.
He probably looked at Maxim play the way he did, and he thought, well, you know what? Kings are underrated. I'm going to go for it. Remember our discussion from when we did the Galfond challenge about momentum?
Wow.
No such thing as momentum.
He's certainly got some Runchuks against Mark's double gutter. And Mark went from having half the chips in play to now having to be a bit cautious.
I don't think cautious is in his vocabulary, to be honest. I mean, he hasn't been the biggest stack at the table all of the time, but he's been thereabouts, and he constantly managed to crawl back and build the stack.
Yeah.
So I don't think he's slowing down anytime soon.
Wow. Gonna lose that showdown again unless he can get Maxime to fold. Not gonna happen. So Adka saying, I remember Runchuks being a non-believer in momentum. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think like the reason behind that, Sir Adka, is because we're both cash game players. And I think that's more of like a tournament. I don't know. I could be completely wrong, but I feel like a lot of tournament players believe in like their momentum, like getting a big score and whatnot, or just like running well. Whereas in cash, it's like, I don't give a fuck. Just click the reload button. Like this whale is going to lose his money eventually.
Yeah, I don't know. I personally know. Oh, by the way, look at this. Jack high flush. Not good. But yeah, I personally know a couple of tournament guys who are firm believers. Oh, cash game guys. Firm believers in momentum. A friend of mine, we were staying in Vegas a few years ago.
Wow. Runchuks, one second, man. Oh, okay.
You thought it was going to be the big one.
We have a new chip leader. Wow.
Oh, actually, we do. We do. Well, anyway, let's stop with the momentum, because actually the three-way action here is heating up. Mark is not going to be slowing down. I want to see what's going to happen? We are bound to see some funky plays. Mark keeps applying pressure on pretty much any board.
Well, wait a minute. We all want to hear the story about your friend from Vegas, though. You can't...
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not really a big story. It's just we were staying in the same house. It was like 5 of us in the house, and we kept playing the same games with him, right? And it was like, I think it was like 5-6 years ago. Probably the game was 5K PLO or 10K PLO, something like that. And he kept talking about the momentum and like how he needs to stay at the table because the momentum is his. And I remember there was one hand when we played against each other and I won the all-in. And he got so pissed, not because I won the all-in, because he said, you broke my momentum. I was like, man, you're fucking mental. There's no such thing, first of all. And second, you just lost an all-in and you're pissed about losing the momentum? Like, what are you nuts?
I mean, I understand that, like, mindset-wise and where your head's at, you know, if you're running well, you're going to go into a session positive. You know, you're gonna bring a better version of yourself to the table compared to someone that, you know, keeps bricking every 200 big blind pot or whatever, or keeps getting it in with 80% and losing to the 20%. But yeah, I don't believe in that mojo of, you know, momentum and it having an impact on the actual results and outcomes of cards. Roger, should I do this giveaway just in case?
Let's do the giveaway. Over? Yeah, let's do the giveaway. I'm curious. What's the question?
Well, I actually want to let chat help me decide on what the question should be, because there's a couple of really good ones from Poker After Dark that Patrick Antonius and Antonio Esfandiari and some other beasts from back in the day played. So, chat, what question should we ask Runchuks? The first one is, how many golf balls could you fit into a school bus? We'll go with the standard American yellow school buses just for reference. Or total net worth of every passenger on the Titanic combined. Let me know in the chat. 1 for how many golf balls, 2 for the total net worth of every passenger on the Titanic combined. And see what you boys and girls think we should ask Runchuk. But I think that's a couple of great questions.
Indeed, they both are pretty cool.
From Poker After Dark. Wow, it's just almost a split in the chat. It's a dead tie. Chat, you're not making it easy.
No, now 2 is edging slightly ahead. Papi contributed to getting back to even-ish. We could have actually run the poll, but fine. Chat is fine. Okay, 2 is ahead again.
No, it's dead even.
Is it?
Yeah.
Keep them even.
Right.
Beautiful.
You know what? I'm gonna go with the total net worth of every passenger on the Titanic.
Okay.
So,
but
Runchuks.
Let's clarify. Like, what are we talking today's dollars, or are we talking back in the day? Like the net worth at the time in the dollar of the time, or modern day monies?
Runchuks, you're making it difficult. it's a lot of things. Like, there is no right or wrong answer.
Well, I know there's not, but you know that it's quite a different answer. Like, it would be obviously 100 years ago.
This is true.
The money is not the same, you know. So, but it's up to me. Basically, I do whatever I do. I just write the number. Give me a minute. If you guys are writing something in the chat, I don't care. I don't see the chat. I'm just focused on my keyboard and the number part of it.
Doesn't matter what they say.
So the total net worth of everybody on the Titanic.
All passengers in US dollars.
In US dollars. In US dollars. All right.
I will let you know once Runchuks has given me his answer, so you can start guessing. Canadian Luke said chat balanced in all ways. Someone else said Twitch chat super balanced, less LFG boys. Robbie X was saying Titanic the movie or the ship. All right.
That's a
You
good
know what?
one.
Do you want me to just rig the giveaway and give it to someone that isn't making my life difficult right now? I'm really interested in seeing what you say. In fact,
Actually, you know what? I want to change my answer as soon as I wrote it, but
okay.
fuck it. We go with what I wrote. I changed my mind.
If you want,
since,
change it.
Yeah, I'll change it because actually I think it's no good.
All right, I'm gonna put my answer in the chat before I see yours because I want to. This I'm not included in the giveaway chat. This is just if I was the brain, what I think the answer is. So don't feel influenced from my answer. I'm gonna say that. Okay. Right. Runchuks has sent me his answer. So you guys have got until 10 to 10. 10 to 10 to get your answers in the chat to win the final $50 satellite ticket into the 5K main. So I asked Runchuks what he thinks the total net worth of all the passengers on board the Titanic was. How smart Pappy Van Winkle is, Runchuks. Just has all the knowledge. Jacob Astor alone was worth a ton.
That's true.
Coffee Tech saying, what's the question? Adjusted inflation or money at the time of sinking? Whatever you interpret it to be at, chat, don't forget, it's what Runchuks thinks. So if you think that he would adjust his number based off of inflation, then you adjust your answer. If you think he's going to send me an answer with the money at the time of sinking, then you send me an answer money at the time of sinking. That's the beautiful thing about the game. Is it's not the actual answer. It's not what you think. It's what you think Runchuks think. So how well do you know Mr. Runchuks?
Well, one thing I know is Maxim's going to be folding. How the hell did he got to that river? Sure, he had a open under to the wheel, or rather a wrap to the wheel, but still.
Yeah, and In Too Deep's played some Lodden thinks at his time, saying usually he would never answer whether it's 1900 money or 2020. They do usually clarify so the bettors have an understanding.
You see, I told you when we should clarify, but we didn't. So let's play the way Mr. Henry wants to play, which is completely in the dark.
Look at this from Robbie Expert saying, just a fun fact, the total GDP in the year 1900 was around 1,900 billion. That's interesting.
That is interesting.
That is very interesting. I didn't know that.
I like what Ari is saying, that I'm thinking about a number from 1 to infinity. The closest one wins. That's basically what we're playing.
Pretty much.
Except, obviously, that number is, going to be influenced by whatever I think the total net worth of all the passengers on the Titanic was.
Look at some of the answers. IO4D said £600. IO4D clearly doesn't want to win a $50 ticket. Oh, Toby taking down a pretty important one. Back up to 7.3 mil. Why do I feel like Mary Heskey is like a close friend of mine just trolling me in the chat? How long until Toby Joyce doubles up through Mark? Well, the queen of the turn would be an absolute disaster for Mark. So it just goes for the check pile. Back up to 16.5 mil. So Adka said 760 mil, got to be close. When will we know the answer? In 5 minutes' time. 5 minutes' time, boys and girls.
How happy is Toby on this board?
Toby's loving life, especially when it's Mark out of position, blasting into him.
My birth name is asking if he wins, can he return the ticket and ask a question? That is fucking awesome.
Okay.
That's somebody who loves the game.
Okay. Sounds fair. Balls is saying instead of tickets, just keep the game going. Winner asks next.
Yeah. I'm telling you, Henry, we should just do a stream where all we do is, well, just chatting and playing the game.
100%. I'm down for it. I'm definitely down for it whenever you want.
Awesome. Let's do it. I have so many weird streams coming up because I'm going to be streaming a bit of chess in the upcoming weeks. So that's going to be fun. And of course, next week I'm going to be streaming some cash game action again. I've been away from Twitch this week because there was a lot of stuff going on, and we had some really high stakes PLO games running over the week. So I was busy with that. But next week I'm going to be back on Twitch and streaming quite regularly. Robbie's experts asking if I watched Hikaru versus Carlson. Actually, I didn't, because, like I said, I was busy playing. Who would win in a knife fight? Henry on Runchuks. Why a knife fight, though?
Trying to see who's got closest so far. Okay. Let's see who's currently closest. Man, chat is popping off. Canadian Luke said, how big is the knife? Well, this is I don't know how I feel about saying this on stream, but it's a bit of a weird fact. When I was 15, I took a knife throwing course. Completely random. I took a knife throwing course with my brother.
Do tell, what is a knife throwing course? Like, what is the objective?
Well, my brother was really into like Bruce Lee and like nunchucks and the what are they called? Like the circular throwing knife discs with like daggers on the end. Oh boy. 1 second, because Mark has flopped the second nuts. Toby with the aces. Facing a fifth pot bet.
Yeah, if it wasn't against Mark, I would say he's not going to lose a lot of money. But this is against Mark. He goes for a raise, though.
I really hope Mark doesn't raise. Thank you. I think Toby's just like trying to buy a showdown. Please don't lead, Mark. Please, like SPR's low enough as it is. You could still get the money in on the river. Interesting when we got a king in our hand. We do unblock spades though.
Yeah, we don't block the spades, and Mark really chose a great sizing here. Gonna be tough for Toby when Mark just pots it. Well, pots it wouldn't be a pot, basically slightly over half pot, but quick check by Mark. I don't really like that though. I think it would make more sense to keep betting. Because the hands that Toby would bet himself are anyway calling against Mark's bet on the river.
That's very true.
And there are some hands which he's never betting himself, which just might call.
Just catching up with the chat. Right, I said, Henry, I'm outraged with the abuse I'm getting in the chat. I'm telling your mother. DDB said, if you have kill in your name, you should be able to win a knife fight. Claude saying, Henry, have you been watching any of the big cash games on GG? I have indeed, man. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, the action's been crazy. It's quite crazy. And we talk a bit about that. Or maybe not so much, actually. But I had MMA Sherdog on the podcast. I told the guys while you were on the break the last time. We just published it today. MMA Sherdog, of course, the high-stakes crusher, no limit hold'em king. And it was an interesting conversation because we talked about some of those big games and some of the upcoming heads-up challenges that we are all very much looking forward to.
Yeah.
All right, so what's up with the game? We need to find a winner. Now is a good time. We have a break at the table, so we can scroll up the chat and see the closest.
Yeah, the closest to your answer. And just to let the chat know, Runchuks' answer was 1.37 billion. And the closest to it was IO4D, who guessed 1.269 billion. So IO4D, you've won yourself a $50 satellite ticket into the 5K main.
That's a pretty close guess as well. That number was pretty close.
And we've got some more knowledge being dropped in the chat by Sir Agda, who's saying Astor was the richest and estimated worth around 80 to 90 millions. He was one of the richest in the world, early 1900s. Damn. So in today's money, that's like 5 trillion.
No.
All right. Okay. This is a part of the game, but how much do you think 90 million in the year 1900s is worth today?
Damn it.
You started it.
So 90 million, you're saying 90 million. How much is it worth today? Crap. I don't even know. I'd say we're not playing a game, right? I'm just saying my answer.
No, we're not playing a game.
Yeah. I think it's gonna be like 500 million or something like that. No, wait, that's a bit low. Sounds a bit low. 90 must have been. So it's man, tough one. I don't know.
Okay, well, $1
Close to
million
a billion. Yeah.
In 1900 would be worth 30.8 million in 2020.
Okay, so it's only 30 times
that. Yeah, so 30 times 90. 2.7 billion.
2.7 billion. 30 times. Imagine that in 100 years.
Yeah.
Well, a bit more than 100 years. Interesting.
Wow. A couple of people saying rigged. Canadian Luke saying, Henry, tell us more about this ninja course you do.
Yeah, I'm actually curious to hear as well. I've never heard anybody before who went for a knife throwing class. What the hell, man?
I don't know, man. We're like 14, 15. Like I said, my brother was, my brother's an MMA fighter, and he just discovered mixed martial arts at that time. He's 4 years younger than me, so he was around 10, 11, and he was really into Bruce Lee, nunchucks. A couple of people typed in the chat what the thing I was trying to think of, ninja stars and stuff like that. And maybe not the best parenting, but my parents let him collect like weapons like that, and he used to like practice out in the garden. So I did a bit of research and found like one of those axe throwing things that you could go to, that people go to for fun, at like a shooting range. And we messaged the guy, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I can make you like a private course if you want me to teach your brother." Like, because I was kind of worried that my brother had a ton of weapons at the age of 11. This is whilst we were living in Bulgaria, by the way. So he like it wasn't like my parents just let him. He just like would go into town, and he would come back with like a butterfly knife that he'd bought for €5 from the market. So he had this collection. My mum one day found it in like his chest of drawers, like 7 or 8 knives that he'd bought. And yeah, so my mum was like, "All right, Henry, you're the older brother. You know, you got to make sure that he's not like, I don't want to confiscate him from him because, you know, he's got to have his freedom, this and the other." So I was like, "Okay, all right, we'll message this guy." He's like, "Yeah, I'll teach your brother how to like handle knives properly, handle, you know, mixed martial arts like weapons and whatnot, even though they're not exactly mixed martial arts weapons." And yeah, we went to this knife throwing course, and the guy taught us like how to handle like butterfly knives and how to like correctly open the blades and how to hold them, like obviously not to use them against people, but like how to like the way that they disguise it is like how to cut things up effectively and make sure that you don't cut yourself. And it's pretty fun.
Yeah, I mean, cut things up. Butterfly knife is pretty fucking far away from a kitchen knife, you know? When you're trying to learn how to cut things up on a butterfly knife, you know you're not cutting your piece of bread.
Yeah, it's pretty weird.
Yeah.
Linked to your GG. I thought just whisper either myself or Runchuks your email account linked to your GG, and after the stream we will send them a message and get that into your account.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with the way the game went. I mean, all of the guesses were super, super close. Obviously, the first 2 were exactly on the money. And then the last one was super close as well, considering that, you know, these were big numbers we were talking about.
Cricket saying in bars in the US they offer axe throwing like darts but with axes. Yeah, I've seen that. I'm not 15 anymore. When I was 15, I was really eager to learn how to throw knives and axes and stuff like that. But now I'm like, well, what if it spins round too fast and catches me as it's spinning around and like chops a finger off or something? So you won't see me with a with a knife or an axe in my hand anymore. At least not throwing one. So won't be happening.
This is crazy, man. And Mark is indeed sitting with the huge stack again and continues doing what he kept doing. And it's great to see, you know, that Mark has been very creative, not afraid of pulling the trigger, not afraid of going for big bluffs, and it's great to see him with a huge stack. This is good for poker.
Yeah, it's been a ton of fun. I've had a good time. I always enjoy doing commentary and podcasts and just anything poker related with you, Runchuks. It's always a lot of fun.
No, absolutely.
Harry said, "Henry, you need to write a book for all the crazy dumb shit you've done."
I saw that. I think it's a brilliant idea. You should.
Maybe when I'm like 40.
Yeah, well,
I've got
40,
like
you can, second edition is coming out when you're 40. Whatever the book title, part 2.
Yeah, the book number 1, Young, Dumb, and Gambling for a Living.
Sounds like a catchy title.
Richard must say Mark is taking the elevator, not the ladder. Yeah, it seems that way. Been very impressed with his aggression. Although it did feel like it was ill-timed.
And he's super quick as well. Look at how quick he is to pull a 3-bet. And we've seen him do it with strong hands, weak hands all the time. He's just insta-acting. And Toby made a super quick call against this 3-bet with, with the hand that is going to have quite good visibility on the flop. He always knows where he's at.
Mark with 20 million of the 32 million in play. Sorry, 31 million in play.
I wouldn't be surprised if... Okay, he just calls. And I was about to say, I wouldn't be surprised if he 3-bets this one.
Yeah, I agree. I would have liked to see it, especially with Toby short. Just really put a ton of pressure on Max.
Canadian Luke asking if we talked about the time banks at all. We have a bit, and we both agree that this is brilliant. It's great to see. It's a great idea. 15 minutes given to each player at the start of the final table, and it's up to them to manage the time bank throughout. And of course, we see that Mark's time bank is the shortest right now, but that's because he's been playing so many hands. He's been playing over 50% of his hands, even in the 6 people. And even when there was 7 people at the table, he was still playing half of his hands. So obviously, he was involved in a lot of hands.
He was indeed.
Oh, wow. Well, that is not great. I'm not too happy to see Mark just get it in with this hand.
10, 9, king needed. Or an 8. Looks like a 10. No, it can't be a 10. Is that the 9 of diamonds,
Runchuks? It is a 9
Runchuks?
of diamonds. Oh, wow.
Wow. Maybe.
Yeah, I'm not too happy with him getting it in with that crappy hand. But it's great to see him open aces for the 3rd time, getting everybody to fold. Well, Toby's going to open this one. Mark's going to defend. Let's see what's the flop. No way. Mark just goes for a 3-bet here. And look at that flop.
Wow.
This is brutal. Mark loves his life, except he's going to get the bad news when the money goes in. This is going to be quite painful. Of course, he's still very much live. He has the nut flush draw. Snap call by Mark, obviously. Not a surprise. And let's see. Would it be nice to see? No, it's black. So no surprises there. Unfortunately, Mark is no longer with the 20 million stack. Well, good for Toby. Toby's with a big stack. Maxim is back to being the shorty.
Well, just like that. Just like that. Mark went from having over half the chips in play 3-handed to now being tied with Toby. Maxime flopping a wrap. SPR 2.5.
And gets away from it. A wrap on a 2-tone board, obviously, without him having the hearts. Probably a good decision. What is the pay jump? Let's have a quick look. What's the difference between 3rd and 2nd? Well, it is sizable.
Oh, we just ordered a fat meal, Runchuks.
What are you having?
Oh, mate. This order. This is a big order. We have ordered why can't I find it? Cream cheese jalapeno poppers, house-made breaded chicken fries, battered onion rings, and a duck burger.
I can only sigh to that. Well, let's see. Flipping, kind of, almost flipping. Let's see the river. Peeling.
Diamond, ace, or 9 needed.
It might be a 9. It might be a 9. It is a 9.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Pretty sick way to go. So, Runchuks, we are heads up for the bracelet.
This is going to be a lot of fun because Mark has been super aggressive even in the ring game situation. Now that it's going to be heads up, I'm really curious to see how much aggression he's going to pile up on Toby. They're wishing good luck to each other. Very nice to see that. And yeah, I'm curious to see how this is going to play out. Toby has been playing it straightforward, playing his hand values, playing quite good overall. And Mark has been running the table over. So now it's going to be, oh, you on Skype can chop if you want. That's fun.
We have mutual buddies, Toby Joyce and Mark Holm.
Yeah.
I don't think Mark is the type of person to...
message me, says Mark. Toby knows people. Oh, now we can all message Mark. How cute is that? Hey, Mark.
That's brilliant.
That is brilliant.
Oh, man. A couple of people in the chat saying Adamo is a sicko. He is one of the best in the world at the moment. I must agree. He's been playing all the high-stakes GG events and also a bit of an MTT beast. Coffee Taxi and Henry, do you only play PLO? I do. I occasionally dabble in no limit hold'em cash games if I'm at a venue with friends and there's no PLO running, but I'm not normally at venues where there isn't PLO running. And no, GG does not have something similar with the chop system. Any deal that they make is actually unsolicited by WSOP and GG. It's entirely their responsibility if they make a deal to make sure that, the transaction is made. Because even if they made a deal now and say, Toby, they did an ICM chop, so they both took like 120. It would be on the winner to transfer the money to the other person who comes second. As far as I know. Wizard of saying in before both banned. Nah.
Nah, the deals are being made all the time in the actual WSOP as well.
Yeah. I didn't know that was a thing, Pappy Van Winkle.
Yeah, the Jamie Gold story never gets old. I played a few sessions against Jamie. Actually, quite a nice guy while he's winning. Well, Mark is using his time bank on this decision. Interesting idea. It's not going to work this time, obviously, because Toby's got too much going on here.
Assuming that will slow things down on Mark's part. Wow. It's a complete airball.
Really tough decision for Toby. Makes the call. Well,
he's going to win a showdown as well.
He's going to win the showdown if he... There's no showdown.
Wow.
Mark is a hell of a player. I like Mark. Now that we all have his Skype, let's just send him our love and say, Mark, you're the best.
Holy shit. I'm clearly under bluffing in PLO. Balls is here. Mark's got minerals. He does indeed. He's got all the minerals.
And when you're Mark and you have aces, well, it just seems to happen a lot that he does get the folds from his opponents, but people don't give him credit. I mean, obviously now it's heads up. There's not much in terms of ICM and stuff. There's a bracelet at stake. So let's see who gets it. How many times has Mark been the chip lead at the table, lost the chip lead, got back to chip lead?
I want to say twice. Lost it against...
Definitely more than twice.
Lost it against Jonas once, and then lost it against Maxime once.
Yeah, and against Toby, he lost it once as well, right? Toby was
three times. Yeah, 3 times. Casually drilling the 5 of hearts on the turn. Must be nice.
Canadian Luke saying Mark didn't come all this way to check rivers with 7 high. I like that, yeah. Definitely not shying away from pulling those 3 barrels out of the hat.
Wow, what
okay,
turn card.
Mark picked up quite a bit of equity. Goes with a small sizing again. Toby might just call.
Yeah, he saw the boat shown down last time Mark took this line.
Yeah.
And it's really nice to see how balanced it is in Mark's shoes.
Another raise. Another small sizing. I wonder if Mark shoves. Is Toby really calling? I would assume not. And it seems like a beautiful spot for Mark to just go over the top and maximize the fold equity. Obviously, he wouldn't be putting Toby on aces very often.
Yeah. Probably feels like he's up at least against the set or 2 pair.
Okay, Mark didn't find the raise there. I don't think he's... Well, this bluff is not going to work. Very small sizing. I guess he was just targeting the draws, the missed draws, and absolutely makes sense. But in this case, Toby did have a made hand.
Very aggressive heads-up match so far.
Yeah, I'm not sure I love the queens 3-betting there. I like what Mark did. Oh, well... Another 3-bet.
Heads up for a bracelet. 100k, 110k, I should say, locked up. 139,400 for first, plus that WSOP Europe package worth $15,000.
Plus the bracelet, of course.
Of course.
I don't know if they made the deal, and I don't think it would have changed anything. There's still the bracelet at stake. Nobody's ever going to make a deal with the bracelet out of the question, so there's still plenty to play for.
Yeah, package as well. Probably playing for the package and bracelet. I'll tell you what, I wouldn't want to play against Mark. He's,
I feel like I would, but I don't know how he's playing cash games. If he approaches them with the same sort of oomph, I would really want to play against him.
Yeah, I guess in cash games when you're 100 bigs effective, it would be a lot easier.
It would be very different. But even if it's not 100 bigs, even if we're actually playing whatever this is now, 30 something big blinds, even if we're playing short, still like to play Mark, but we don't know how he's playing cash games. We know that he's a hell of a tournament player. Definitely fun to watch. And made a lot of really good plays on this final table.
Interesting line from Toby. Mark with a decision, club blocker, also blocking. King 10, 10-8. Does let it go. Does let it go. Maybe that's that momentum that you believe in, Runchuks.
Oh yeah, it must be.
Changing around there. Pappy Mammoth says Skype him after the tournament and challenge him.
Right.
With his newly found 140k or 110k, depending on where he finishes. Play heads up for rolls, bud. Yeah, I know the guy's a legit OG. Been around for a while. Well, we know Toby ain't folding. Wouldn't mind seeing a block here. Although Mark's probably going to still value bet all of his, well, a lot of his flushes and his ace-x with spade blockers.
Hey, Nut Raising is raiding. Welcome, guys. Welcome to the stream. We are currently watching Heads Up of the final table of the WSOP event number 66. And Nut Raising himself in the chat. Isn't it great when you actually don't have a delay? Somebody raids and you're here and you can say, hey, how are you? How was your session, Nut Raising? Nut Raising, guys, by the way, if you don't know, Nut Raising, check out his stream. He's streaming every week, very often, almost every day. I see him streaming. He's streaming PLO, the beautiful game. Go check him out. Check out his channel.
Yeah, we've battled a few times, I believe, Nut Raising. Well,
this is going to be interesting.
From what we know, yeah, I was about to say, from what we've seen. Okay, safe turn card for Mark. If the turn was a queen or a jack, he would have been in a lot of trouble.
I mean, with how much imagination Mark has, he's pretty much always at risk of trouble, because so far he's found a lot of very creative lines. He's never safe.
Toby saying, run it. Canadian Luke said, I just learned that GG's WSOP is impacting Hendon mobs. Interesting. It is, but what you need to note is the score itself is going on to people's Hendon mobs, but the actual result isn't, if that makes sense. Oh, sorry, no, the result is going on, but the score isn't being added to someone's total live earnings. Because I Hendon mobbed myself and saw that my $1,500 PLO event was put on to my Hendon mob, but it didn't update my overall winnings or earnings, if you will.
What is happening here? I don't understand. Do you see? You see
Well,
this?
they've checked it down to the river, Runchuks. Yeah. They keep blasting with
7 high.
Trashy hands. Yeah. They're pot controlling with their 2 pair and 10 high diamonds.
Oh well. Blinds went up, so we're still pretty deep. We're even stacks, and that's 40 big blinds that we're sitting at. Plenty of poker to play. Well, now Toby wants Skype. Even stacks. Interesting.
Mark's not responding.
Well, if he is responding in Skype, maybe.
Let's get the 6 of spades on the turn. Alright, just lets it go.
Yeah.
We know this is probably going to be a 3-bet pot. How do you think it's going to end, Runchuks? Set over set? Flush against flush? Wrap against set? What's going to happen?
Well, any of the above can happen. What's going to happen? Let's make a simpler question. Do you think it's going to be a cooler, or somebody's just going to bluff huge?
I think it is going to be a cooler. I think it's going to be like a flip, like a top 2 against an open ender with a flush draw, or set against the wrap, something like that.
Yeah. Of course, I mean, it depends on the stack size situation when the elimination is going to happen, right? If they're both relatively deep still, then, it's either a bluff or a cooler. But if somebody is short, then it basically is going to be whatever. You get it in with 30%, you still are reasonably happy.
Yeah. DDB said Mark going to bluff away his stack. Potentially.
Very possible. I remember we were saying that he might be one of the first people out of the final table after we saw a first orbit. And we basically said that it's either that or he's going to be battling for the bracelet. And here we are. Yeah. And it's great to see, because definitely the most entertaining player at the table.
Yeah, for sure.
Great
it's
style.
Been an absolute pleasure to watch, man. He's just been putting people in the bin. And I don't think Toby's going to be going anywhere just yet versus a check raise. King on the turn, especially with the jack of spades in our hand as well. Makes our life a little bit easier to continue on the turn. Toby could potentially have around a 2.5 to 1 chip lead, Runchuks, after this hand.
Well, that's most likely going to happen. Yep.
Yeah, up to 2.3 million. 2.3 million? 23 million, sorry.
Well, Mark has 22 big blinds against 57 big blinds. Still a lot of poker to play. Coffee Attack's asking, how would we adjust if we were playing Mark right now?
I honestly don't know. At 20 bigs, how I would adjust against someone like Mark. 200 big blinds, I'd be really happy if he was playing that way with 200 bigs, but I doubt he would. Clearly understands the game. Put on an absolute clinic on the FT. I assume Toby checks turn. He does. Going to lose a showdown. Courtesy of that king of clubs. Can see a bluff would not work. Gets snapped off by Marks. Third nuts. I guess it's one of those spots we're bottom of our range when we get to this river. Check, bet, call. Middle pair, backdoor hearts, I assume is going to be the action. I just let's it go, Runchuks. Just let's go middle pair and backdoor nut hearts.
Right, that would be uncalled for. I was actually about to say that in the previous hand, I think if Mark was to check, it could have been a good play. He had two pair, top and bottom. He was blocking the draws, and he had the second nut flush draw himself. So he's definitely not afraid of giving away any free cards. And with 20 big blinds, it could have been a good play.
Yeah, this hand's all over. What? Well, I assume it's all over. I mean, some of the stuff Mark's done wouldn't surprise if he just like floats twice with 8 higher, then bombs river.
Yeah, I would be very surprised if he does that here. I'm not really sure why he's using up his time bank. Sure, 3 minutes is still plenty. But maybe they're just busy in the Skype. Although I assume if they made a deal, they made it previously when the stacks were even. Wow.
Wow.
What is going on?
Wow.
Well, Toby's not folding, surely. Yeah, goes for a raise. Mark goes for a quick fold. Makes sense. Well, everything makes sense apart from his check raise. It doesn't make much sense, but still.
This could be an interesting hand. This could be the final hand.
Sir Agder is saying just Mark was making tea with a lot of sugar. Yeah.
Oh boy.
Okay.
For the bracelet, Runchuks.
Well, only if Toby wins. Oh man, look at the board. Look at the board. Drawing dead on the turn. GG. GG, Mark. That was
is what you want to see.
Beautiful display. 151,500 goes to Toby Joyce. Congratulations, Toby. Well played. Toby played very well throughout the whole table. Obviously, Mark was the star. He was the guy creating the action and creating the entertainment, to be honest. That was one of the most interesting final tables that I've seen. And it's just beautiful poker.
100%. Couldn't agree more. Mark put on an absolute clinic as the big stack. And got to give credit to Toby Joyce as well. I mean, he was pretty handcuffed in terms of ICM at the start of the FT, even 7 and 6-handed, and managed to navigate his way through to 3-handed and heads up, and then ended up winning himself 150k and a bracelet. And Mark Hermdo, I mean, what an absolute performance from that man. Still gonna go away though, Runchuks, with $109,900. So
yeah, and I brought up the screen with all the winners and the money. If you guys are interested, it's right there for you. Wow, man, that was very, very entertaining. Super happy with what we saw. Definitely not bored at any point. Mark kept us guessing all of the time. Indeed. Beautiful stuff. And of course, we're going to put the video up on YouTube at some point. Potentially also put up some highlights. And there's plenty of highlights in this stream. So if you guys are interested, you're going to be able to see some of the highlights on the YouTube channel. You know where to find me. And as to commentary, we're going to be back at it with Henry and Jay Nandes next week, doing a 3-way commentary. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Everyone loves the 3-way chat. Everyone.
Absolutely. How are we going to play the game, though?
No, I don't know. Easy. Yeah, easily. Don't worry.
Fantastic.
I'll take care of it.
You better take care of it because I'm hooked. I'm hooked. I'm basically
you're hooked.
yeah. I'm already planning my streaming around the game that we're gonna play with you, and I want to say it would be like fun to play it with like a bottle of wine or something.
Okay.
But
and do a stream. We'll think of something. Man.
Yeah, we'll think of something.
Yeah.
But then again, I had a conversation with Lee Davey on the podcast, and we're going to release it next week. He is, the 1,000-Day Sober organization and helping people fight addiction. It was a really interesting conversation. I really didn't know what to expect when we got into it, and the guy is impressive, has so much energy. So, you're going to see the podcast episode next week. I'm sure some of you might really enjoy it. I know I did. So I don't even know if I want to have that bottle of wine. Maybe let's just play. We'll see. We'll figure it out. But for sure, we're going to play Loading Things on stream with some giveaways.
Sounds good, my man. I appreciate you having me on your channel as well.
Oh, it's such a pleasure, man. It's such a shame that you couldn't come over to my place because of the virus picking up in Malta. It was a great plan. I was looking forward to it, but unfortunately, it is what it is. We'll do it another day.
We will. I'm gonna go and devour my food, but I'll catch you and everyone in Twitch chat next week.
Absolutely. Anyway, guys, thank you so much. The chat has been fucking awesome today. It was really enjoyable. We'll see you next week. Bye.